Toronto as they move the ball against the Stampeder defense inside the 35-yard line. A gain of 14 for Minter.
Boy, is that ever smooth, too. That's a run and shoot at the best. Holloway getting rid of that football so quickly. Absolutely no way you could pressure the Argonaut quarterback.
We talked about Mounts Davis no longer with the Argonauts. Ed Klebeck is the man who replaced him. But really, things haven't changed at all from a year ago when the Argos instituted the run and shoot and piled up 426 points.
Look at that motion.
To the other side again. Paul Pearson this time. As Holloway works one side, works the other side, comes back again. Pearson has another, what appears to be close to another first down for the Argonauts. Holloway calling a masterful game here as he just is using every bit of the field. And it is another first down, and the Argos at the Stampeder 24, the opening drive of the ball game. 4 first downs in a row for Toronto. And they got a good one going at the Big O in Montreal, all tied up in the third quarter. Riders and Concourse. Holloway pumped once, hung on to it, now looking for it, a wide open Emmanuel Colbert. Touchdown, Toronto. 24-yard score for the Argonauts. And they open this football game impressively. Emmanuel Colbert, remember him, he was activated for the Grey Cup game and scored an 84-yard major against the Eskimos.
Boy, that's an excellent picture right there. You can see the Argonaut receivers all coming to the right side, trying to flood the zone. Tolbert sees it. He's covered underneath by Moyer, number 4, the safety, and just turns it upfield. Excellent play by the receiver, as well as, of course, the experienced Conrad Holloway picking up the receiver, turning upfield, and the first major of this ball game.
And you're looking at Hank Olisic now getting a chance to do some place kicking as well as punting with the Argonauts. Jan Kaminsky, the holder. It is good, and Toronto has quickly jumped in front to a 7-0 lead on the 24-yard score. Here's another look at it. Holloway to Tolbert.
Well, he just pulls it right back down. An excellent blocking once again by Brock, number 34. Good catch, too, as that ball thrown just over the wrong shoulder. An 84-yard drive. The Argonauts have started out extremely impressive. They lead the Calgary Stampeders 7-0. We'll be back with more first quarter action in a moment.
Back live, McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Argonauts opening up a 7-0 lead. A touchdown by Emmanuel Tolbert. Hank Olisic to kick off. Puts this one deep without much effort. Almost 5 yards in the end zone. Smith bringing it out, finds some room to go now. Darrell Smith reversing his field a couple of times, brings it back out across the 40-yard line. 46-yard return off a 70-yard kick by second-year man Darrell Smith out of Illinois. The rookie, Bernard Quarles out of Hawaii, is the starting quarterback tonight. First time since 1958 a rookie has opened the season for the Stampeders at quarterback. And the receiving corps, led by the veteran Tom Berzani, the offensive line, hit 2, every one of them a Canadian. First down from the 41, Stampeders. First time they've had the ball, they're already behind 7-0. Levenseller, number 17, taking the pass from Quarles out to about the 47-yard line. Gain of close to 6 yards on the play.
Dale talking to Jack Gott, I mentioned to him I thought maybe the Mike Levenseller trade with Edmonton was the best trade that he's made for the Stampeder Football Club in an awful long time. And he says, yeah, and right back to the time when he got Donnie Bass from these same Toronto Argonauts.
The defensive lineup for the Toronto Argonauts, you see a lot of new names in that secondary compared to last year.
Familiar and Ken McEachran replacing Zach Henderson at that safety spot.
Quarles goes right back to Levenseller. He makes the catch and dove forward enough for the first down. Working against Leroy Paul, also getting over there to help out on the stop on Levenseller. Don Moen, the outside linebacker, number 36.
You think they're not going to put it in the air in the CFL this year?
You'll see a lot of it with this man, too, Bernard Quarles. You see his preseason record, and he loves to throw that football, and he can run with it as well.
He's 2 for 2. Conrads were 6 for 6 in their drive for the first major score, 77 yards through the air.
Stampeders now, first down from their own 53. Quarles looking for Armstead. Knocked away. Deep coverage by Darrell Wilson at the 30-yard line. Armstead had to hold up for that football. Quarles didn't get enough on it.
That ball did kind of float down there, and it appeared that Darrell Wilson, number 13, was not going to recover to get back in time to knock that ball down. intended for Willie Armstead, but we have an injured Argonaut on the field at the moment. Bernard will be having most of his plays called from the sideline. Although you won't see Stampeders coming in every play, they do signal from the sideline to help the young quarterback.
Earl Wilson, second-year man from Kentucky, being helped now to the sidelines. He had 4.5 sacks last year for the Argonauts.
Only 265-pounder. He'll be working primarily against Bob Lubick, and that might be a bit of a mismatch. I think Earl Wilson will be able to handle Lubick by and large.
8 new faces on that Argo defense. Wozniacki and King along the front 4. And Nicholson and Mitchell, linebackers, are a couple of new faces. Nicholson is a raw rookie right out of North Carolina State. And new faces to the Argos in that secondary. Leroy Paul, Lamont Meacham, a rookie right out of Western Kentucky. McEachern, of course, Frank just mentioned. Darrell Wilson is returning. And then Marcellus Green is back, although he wasn't there last year. Penalty flags all over the place as Quarles hits Ray Krause coming out of the backfield. He's forced out of bounds at the Toronto 49-yard line. Wilson making the tackle for the Argos, but 3 penalty flags were thrown.
Rick Moore, number 76, the defensive end on that side. He was in a stand-up position. Looked like he broke a little bit too quickly. However, that may not be the only penalty. The gain, if it stands, would be about 8 yards.
Head coach Bob Obilovich with the headset on, last year's rookie or Coach of the Year in the CFL. And of course, on this near side is Jack Goda, and the only 3-time winner of Coach of the Year.
I think you could give Bobby Obie a Rookie of the Year Coach Award too, couldn't you? Well, apparently the Toronto Argonauts were drawn offside by the Stamps. He's 2nd and 15 now. 8:49 remaining in the first quarter. The Argonauts lead the Stampeders by 7.
Down by Emmanuel Tolbert. Pressure on Quarles as he released again, looking for Armstead. Out of the hands of Ken McEachern when he thought he had an interception, moving over from that safety spot. And Quarles was hit by Wilson just as he got rid of the ball, and that's what made it float.
Zone defense, and Willie Armstead was wide open a little earlier had Quarles been able to see him. But that ball floated once again. Both times that Quarles, the youngster, has gone deep, he has not put much on the football. And we know he has an extremely strong arm. From the University of Hawaii, 210-pounder, but he runs like a fullback when you see him take off. J.T.
Hay apparently has recovered enough from his back troubles to come in and punt. Argos with a good rush on him. This is Townsend waiting for it at the 17-yard line. Townsend gets across the 20 to about the 22, and that's where the Argonauts will start offensively after a 5-yard return and a 44-yard kick. It's 7-0, Toronto leading Calgary. We'll be back to McMahon in a moment. From McMahon Stadium in Calgary as the Toronto Argonauts have possession of the football. They lead it 7-0 on a touchdown. Conridge Holloway throwing to Emmanuel Tolbert. The Argos right now at their own 22-yard line. Bob Gronk, Rookie of the Year for the Argos in 1982, takes this one right up the middle to about the 28, 29-yard line. Danny Bass, former Argo, in on the tackle. Tudovic at that offensive center spot for the Argonauts has got a tough job trying to handle Randy Troutman. Watch what he does right here. Looked to me like he was holding him. In fact, I know he was. Pulled him down. Three-yard gain for Bronx. 2nd down and 7 for Toronto. Holloway looking for Pearson. He's wide open. Pearson has a first down to about the 43-yard line, and the Argonauts are doing a great job of clearing those defenders out of there and leaving a man wide open. With all the changes in mind for the Toronto Argonauts, you know, you'd wonder about 1983, especially since they were at the Grey Cup last year, but Conrad Holloway remains very confident that the Argonauts will be as good as ever, even with the changes.
Well, I think with the changes that were made were changes that the coaching staff and the management felt need to be made. And as far as our offense is concerned, we don't have that many changes, so I feel very comfortable from my side of the ball as to what we're going into and what we're looking forward to this year.
Conrad looks extremely comfortable right now. This time he had to get rid of the football as the Stampeders finally got some heavier rush on him. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10 from the 42-yard line. But that opening drive of the ball game, as you look at Danny Bass and James West with the rush, that's the first pass that Holloway's missed tonight.
comfortable with the offense. Really, he didn't really say much about all the changes because they've occurred on defense.
Second down and 10, Toronto. Looking for Tolbert. He's got him. Beautiful catch by Tolbert at the Calgary 33-yard line. And Holloway threw that one like a bullet for a 32-yard gain.
Boy, oh boy, is that Toronto Argonaut offense on the move. Watch this throw. Absolutely perfect.
Manuel Tolbert, the man the Argonauts acquired on waivers from Saskatchewan last year, and that's a mistake the Rough Riders wish they wouldn't have made because they'd dearly love to have Tolbert back, but he's a big man here in this first quarter for the Argonauts. He has a touchdown already and a 32-yard gain in that last play. Scott McGee takes this pass from Holloway, and he stopped Richie Hall at about the 28-yard line, so it's a gain of close to 6-7 yards.
They've thrown that pass a couple of times to McGee, and it's been completed both times, but you really can't hold much against a defender. Hall, of course, knew that corner spot, but when they go out there and set up at just about 5 yards, it's got to be a tremendous gamble to try to pick that one off or knock it down. Argonauts playing excellent pitch and catch.
Second down, just about 4. Penalty marker. Holloway is down back at the 38-yard line. Bernie Morrison, number 72, with the sack. Morrison winning a starting job this year for the Stampeders. He's a 6-year veteran out of the University of Manitoba. And, of course, that freed up an import spot that the Stampeders utilize on offense now.
I'll tell you, Dale, Conrad's Holloway did buy some extra time for himself getting away from the first Stampeder. There's a fellow that's caused a little controversy here in Stampeder land. Rick Goltz, picked up from the BC Lions by the Calgary Stampeders after he had played out his option. He has got progressively better as a Stampeder. He's only started 2 football games for them, but they feel they have as good a front 3 as anybody in the country with Goltz, Randy Troutman, 62, and Ed McElhenney, the perennial all-star, number 64 on the other side. Here's Hank Alistic's first field goal attempt of the regular season.
Grincy doing the holding at the 45. There was a holding penalty against the Argo, and that was declined by the Stampeders. They took the sack for a 10-yard loss. The kick by Alistic is wide to the right. Darryl Moyer gives up the single point, and so the Argos increase their lead to 8-0 over the Stampeders with 4:44 remaining in the first quarter. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, the Argonauts have had things going their way offensively here so far in the opening quarter. They were forced to try a field goal on their last drive, which went wide for a single point. But they're out in front of the Stampeders, and right now the Calgary Stampeders have the football, 1st and 10 at the line of scrimmage on the missed field goal, which is the 38-yard line. Bernard Quarles, rookie from Hawaii, the starting quarterback. Looking for Mike Levenseller. He's got him in a first down, working against Leroy Paul. Then Paul gets help on the tackle at the Toronto Argonaut 54-yard line. That was Don Moon, number 36, the outside linebacker, getting back there to bring down Levenseller, the former Eskimo, who the Stampeders acquired recently in the trade with Edmonton for Vavra.
His 3rd reception already this evening, but you know, so far Quarles does not look like he's throwing that ball with the same velocity he was in preseason. Saskatchewan now gone ahead of the Concord. 4th quarter action in Eastern Canada.
Comes the safety blitz. McEachern doesn't get there in time, and Quarles can put it to Armstead for a first down at the 40-yard line. The safety blitz was on. McEachern got there a little too late at the 15-yard gain. Quarles to Armstead.
Yeah, that shows a little bit of patience, though, by the young quarterback. I'm sure he could feel, if not see, Ken McEachern, 24, coming up and giving him that shot just after he released the football. Fine catch by Armstead to give a first down to the Stampeders at the 41-yard line.
Calgary on the move now with 3:20 remaining in the opening quarter. Argos in front, 8-0. Quarles goes to Sykes through the middle. Sykes, who had over 1,000 yards rushing last year, picks up about 5 yards this time. They'll bring up second down and a long 4 to go. Ball just outside the 35. Sykes rushed for 1,054 last year. 3rd best in the league.
I think once in a while they're going to try the youngster Nicholson at that middle linebacking spot. Willie Thomas gets a pretty good block on him on that play, and they roll him back. He's going to have to get a little tougher up there against that run than that.
Second down play here for the Stampeders from the Toronto 35. Quarles looking right. Throws it way over the head of Willie Armstead. There were a lot of Argonauts there, and Quarles wisely threw it hard and high downfield. Nobody could get close to it. That brings up third down, and the field goal comes in.
Armstead, the outstanding receiver for the last 8 years for the Stampeders, and he's been Quarles' favorite target throughout the preseason. He had 13 catches in the 4 preseason games that the Stampeders won 3 and lost 1.
And so far tonight, Frank, Quarles has only been passing to Armstead and Levenseller. J.T. Hay, who has been bothered this week by a sore back, will attempt a 42-yard field goal. Jerry DeTilio, the holder. And this is wide to the left. McEachern in the end zone. He'll give up a single point. So the difference right now in the football game, a 24-yard touchdown by Emmanuel Tolbert on the opening drive for the Argonauts and a pass from Holloway. They lead it 8-1 with 2:13 remaining in the first quarter. If you're wondering about Mike McTagg, the regular punter for the Stampeders, he is on reserve because of a broken hand he suffered in an exhibition game. So J.T. Hay has been handling the punting and the place kicking. And then Hay came up with a bad back, which has been bothering him, but progressing a little bit better each day. And that's why Terry Leschuk, the junior, was handling the opening kickoff of the ball game. From the 35, the Argos go once more. This is Pearson on the reception from Holloway. Takes it out to the 48-yard line before he's finally forced out of bounds. Hopkins holds the gain to 13.
Bill, interesting, the Toronto Argonauts have not gone to their outstanding receiver, Terry Greer, and I had a chance to talk to him immediately before the ball game. I think he's hurt a little bit more than the Argonaut organization has let be known. He tore his elbow up against the Montreal Concord, and he's got a huge patch on it, as you can see, on his right elbow. He's a little concerned of hitting this artificial turf.
Colbert again. He's had a big first quarter. Takes in this pass from Holloway. He's out to about the 54-yard line. That's a gain of 6 yards for Colbert. Toussaint, a tackle for the Stampeders. Terry Irvin was there as well. Colbert sliding underneath from that slot back position. When he was with Saskatchewan, he was an outside receiver, but very effective tonight inside.
Well, they're running that very similar pattern, one side to the other. Just out in that flat area, and the corner's laying off enough. Stampeders may have to invert their defense a little bit, bring those defensive halves a little tighter. Holloway's picking them apart, 11 for 12.
Second down, 4. Holloway had room to run and finds Mitter wide open. But let's see, was he out of bounds? Yes, they rule him out. Mitter just slipped along the sidelines, and he was open, but he came down with football, and his foot was on the line.
Well, just an excellent block by Bob Bach, number 34, to provide Holloway time to throw that football. That's West on the outside. Again, as we mentioned, he's the guy they expect to get the big rush from. Bach stops him right at the line of scrimmage, cuts him right down.
Take a look at Mitter's feet here. His one foot planted on the line, then his second foot planted on the line as well. So he was out of bounds when he made the catch. Olesic in the punt. Former Eskimo. Seems like he's been around forever. He's only 24 years old. He's already a 7-year veteran.
46.2 lifetime punting average.
Not one of his good ones. He was angling for the corner, and he almost hit the first row and the stands on the near side. Bit of a scuffle going on upfield between Hamluck and Troutman. Players and officials break that one up. Olesic not happy with that punt at all.
Daryl Toussaint, number 21, came in there, put a little pressure on him, and Coach Jack Gotta feels that Toussaint is probably as good, if not the best, kick blocker in the entire Canadian Football League.
Well, that was a 19-yard kick, and the Stampeders led the league last year in blocking kicks. They had 4 of them.
Both of these ball clubs think that they'll be able to block a punt before the night's over. The Argonauts put big pressure on Hay the first time he kicked it.
First down, Stampeders, the ball at their own 37. Just about the end of the opening quarter, and Quarles was just about intercepted by middle linebacker Nicholson along with Moan. With 8 seconds to go here in the opening quarter, Argonauts lead 8-1. Jack Gotta, the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders and director of football operations, with Al McCann.
Jack, what special problems do the Argos present? I think number one, it's Conrad Holloway with the great throwing skills that he has. He sets up so quickly, and he throws to that host of good receivers. And every once in a while, they catch you off balance with the run ability of Cedric Minter. And when you got Greer and guys like Greer and Minter and Pearson on the field along with Conrad Holloway, then they're just tough to stop.
Willie Armstead into Toronto territory on the last play of the opening quarter. That's it for the opening 15 minutes and a 24-yard game for the Stampeders. The score is 8-1 in favor of Toronto over Calgary. We'll return with the second quarter in just a moment. Look at the Stampeder bench, and Jack Cota looking at the offense now. And Jerry DiTilio has taken over at quarterback for the Stampeders here in the second quarter after Bernard Quarles played the entire opening quarter and just completed a pass to Armstead for a big game and then was injured. DiTilio goes to Smith on first down at the 48, gets to about the 45-yard line. It's a gain of 3.
Quarles was hit as he released that football for that throw at the end of that first quarter. As you take a look at first quarter stats and see the tremendous offensive output of the Argonauts, but I think that's why DiTilio's come in the ball game. Quarles extended his right leg backward, and I think he's pulled it just a little bit.
Quarles on the bench now, flexing that leg. Second down, 7. DiTilio going back to the veteran. Forzani makes a cute move. He could score. McEachern back there. Forzani trying to cut across the field, and the ball plops loose. It's picked up by the Argonauts. Franklin King. Toronto has the football. What a break for Toronto after a cute move by Tom Forzani. Put it deep in Toronto territory.
Boy, just a very simple pattern. Watch Tommy just pull up very short and make this reception. About 6-yard gain. And this move. Tremendous move on Leroy Paul. And now the ball will pop loose right at the 15-yard line.
And that was Franklin King, number 61, making the recovery. So a big break for the Argonauts. They have the ball at their own 14.
Darrell Wilson made the hit for the Argonaut.
Argo showing all that motion once more. Paul Pearson gets away from Billy Morrison. Pearson stopped shy of the 25-yard line, but he's very close to a first down. He may have it. 3 or 4 Stampeders had to get over there and finally put the stop on Pearson.
Close to a first down.
6-year veteran out of UBC. Had 4 touchdowns last year for the Argos and 62 catches. A native of Campbell River, British Columbia. And they'll need a measurement here on the game by Pearson, who at one time was unhappy with the lack of playing time with the Argos a couple of years ago, and then last year became a big part of this run-and-shoot offense. First down it is for Toronto. 13.5 minutes remaining until halftime. They lead at 8-1. Touchdown by Emmanuel Tolbert in the opening drive. The difference in the ball game.
Ever since Paulie Pearson's been such a big success with the Argonauts, I constantly bring up the fact that I did work with him in high school.
I was wondering when you were going to remind us of that.
He didn't think I wouldn't, did he?
Stampeders coming with a lot of people again, and this time Holloway has to unload in a big hurry. But Tolbert was the intended receiver and was way over his head. That brings up second down from the 24. Tolbert's been a busy man for the Argonauts here in the first half. Has a touchdown and has 3 catches so far, a total of 62 yards.
You see the defensive signal, the offensive signal, I should say, from Bob Ovilovich to Conrad Holloway.
Frank and Dale, if I might jump in here, down on the Calgary bench, Bernard Quarles has a stretched ligament in his knee. They are not sure yet until they check him at halftime whether or not he'll go back in.
All right. Coda's got to be worried about that one because they had another rookie quarterback go down with an injury. Scott McGee, the intended receiver this time, right along the sidelines. That pass too far once more, and it's third down. And Hank Olisic will be in to do the punting. And with Quarles possibly out of action for the evening, the other rookie quarterback the Stampeders have on reserve is Danny Barrett out of Cincinnati. And he, too, has an injured hand. He possibly could come into play maybe next week if they needed him, but he has a cast on his hand, and taking the snap from center might be a problem.
Yeah, we're going to do something a little interesting here if we can. Hank Olisic is known for kicking that ball so high. He hit a very poor punt last time. This time we're going to take a look and see if we can get the hang time Hank really puts it up in the air.
Low snap. Lissick has it. End over end kick. Hang time. On one hop goes to Richie Hall, and there you see it, 4.7. And Hall is stopped by Don Moen right at the 40-yard line.
I call that hang and bounce time.
That's about it. That's the score, 8-1 in favor of the Argonauts. We'll be back in just a moment. A look at the Argonaut bench as the offensive line gets some instructions from assistant coach Bob Palcic. The defense on the field right now. 52-yard punt that time by Lissick thanks to a big hop. The Stampeders start from their own 39. The draw, Ray Krause, he fumbles the football. The Argos have it back once more at the 45-yard line. Earl Wilson was the man on top of it. So Wilson and King, the defensive tackles for the Argonauts, have both come up with fumble recoveries here in the last minute or two. Take a look at Krause as he goes up the middle, and somebody just strips the ball from him.
Excellent blocking, actually, by the Calgary Stampeder offensive line.
Might have been Wilson
that ball was gone.
I think it might have been Wilson that got a hand on him. That's Don Moen and Nicholson, two linebackers.
Willie Thomas, a good block on Moen as he came on a cross block from his guard position.
Holloway going to Minter, coming out of the backfield. He takes the pass and then is horse collared out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Nickname is Bubba. Earl Wilson, second-year man out of Kentucky. Stripped the ball away from Krause and then recovered the fumble. Giving the Argos possession in Calgary territory. They're now 2nd and 2 from the 37. 8-1, the Argonauts leading the Stampeders.
Flooding this left side again.
Pearson wide open. Hopkins finally forces Pearson out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. The Argonauts on the move once more. Pearson making his 6th catch of the evening for 78 yards.
Once again, those Argonauts just using that motion to flood one side or the other. Holloway is just moving out about 5 or 6 steps and dumping that ball out in the flat. You can see it right there. Excellent release by Conrads once again, and Pearson has caught 5 out of his 6 receptions on exactly that kind of pattern.
First down, Toronto from the Calgary 18-yard line into the end zone. Terry Greer too far. First pass attempt from Holloway to Greer tonight. This time Holloway got a little too much on it. Brings up 2nd down from the 18. Holloway hasn't missed too many tonight. They've only run the ball on 2 occasions. Joe Barnes, the backup quarterback, along with head coach Abilovich.
That's something. He got 200 yards of total offense in the first 20 minutes. He only got 8 points on the board. They have moved it up and down the field.
2nd and 10 now from the 18. Pearson was open. He had his hands on it. He would have had a touchdown had he been able to hold it. 3rd down. The kicking unit comes on. And you know how Pearson feels right about now because he was wide open. And nobody between him and the end zone.
You could see how the Argonauts have flooded the left side of the zone with all of those receivers on that side. Pearson comes down and just does a little bit of an inside pattern right there. The ball is well thrown. It should have been 6 points for the Argonauts.
But they're going to have to settle for a Hank Lissick field goal attempt from the 25-yard line. He missed on a field goal attempt earlier that went for a single. This time he puts it through there, and the Argonauts increase their lead over the Stampeders to 11-1 with 10:22 remaining in the 2nd quarter, and we'll be back in just a moment. There you see the Argonauts with the edge in offensive yardage, and of course the edge on the scoreboard. They lead by 10. And the Stampeders have the ball 1st and 10 from their own 35 with Jerry DiTilio now quarterbacking the Stampeders in place of Bernard Quarles. Armstead going in motion. It's to Sykes. Gets a couple of blocks and got a yard or 2, and there's that Nicholson showing that he does have good mobility, even though he is a big man at 6'3", 235. He came from that middle linebacking spot and cut down Sykes, and the gain was only 2.
Sixth-round draft choice originally with the New York Giants, North Carolina State. Bob Obilovich very pleased with his young middle linebacker.
They write him up as a super active linebacker, and he sure can move. Second down and 8 for the Stampeders in their own 37. Tilio looking for a wide open Levenseller. He's got it. First down, Calgary. Levenseller takes the ball to the Toronto 46-yard line. William Mitchell, number 39, making the tackle for the Argonauts. Levenseller comes up with a 27-yard gain, his fourth catch of the evening for 56 yards.
All of a sudden, Jerry DiTilio has found a strong arm. He threw that very well.
DiTilio, of course, the 8-year veteran out of Northern Colorado, won a Shenley in 1980. Former Montreal. First down as DiTilio calls signals from the Toronto 46. Smith, first down again for the Calgary Stampeders. He takes it to the Toronto 30-yard line. Let's go to Al McCann.
Well, down here at field level, I've got veteran cornerback Terry Irvin. Terry, they're burning you with screens and swing passes tonight.
Yeah, well, you know, that run and shoot offense is pretty tough during the first of the year, you know, and you have to really, you know, play tight man coverage, I think, in order to, you know, take care of it. Right now, we are kind of laying back in the zone trying to figure out what they're doing out there. What they're doing, they isolated linebackers, you know, on their running back, so that created a problem for us.
Make some adjustments at halftime, eh?
Oh, for sure.
Terry?
We have 8 minutes and 40 seconds remaining on the clock here in the second quarter, and head referee Bud Ulrich has called time here for a moment.
Bill, I think there is some concern with the clock at the south end of McMahon Stadium, the official scoreboard. The clock is now showing 8:35. 11-1, the Toronto Argonauts leading the Calgary Stampeders in what has been a very interesting offensive game for both of these ball clubs.
I mentioned earlier that the Stampeders are the only West Division club that the Argonauts have a winning record against, and they moved in front in their matchups over the years last year by winning one and tying one against the Stampeders. In the previous 24 meetings, the Toronto Argonauts have won 12 and tied one. Ray Krause gets by Wilson, then is stopped at the 20-yard line. Nicholson in on the tackle. He'll be very close to a first down. He should have it. He's near the 19-yard line, and he just had to get inside the 20. It is a first.
Stampeders, of course, one of the few ball clubs in the CFL having two import running backs. Ray Krause, a rookie from the University of Nevada in Las Vegas, and he was very impressive during preseason action. They don't necessarily run the football any more often than anybody else, but they'll dump it off to their backs very quickly, just like that. Here it is again.
Krause with some blocking in front. Krause has himself a touchdown.
A perfectly executed screen pass. And Ray Krause scores his first professional touchdown.
19-yard score. DiTilio to Ray Krause, and the Stampeders close the gap on the Argonauts.
Isn't that interesting, Dale? When we talked before the ball game, Bob Obilovich of the Argonauts felt that he could screen the Stampeders. He gets burnt with exactly that play.
Krause gets a couple of blocks. That's Krebs out in front, cutting down the last man, Darrell Wilson, and Krause just tiptoes into the end zone. DiTilio holds now for Hay. It is good, and it's 11-8 ball game. The Argonauts leading the Stampeders with 7:40 remaining in the second quarter. Here's another look at the touchdown.
Excellent run by Krause once he makes that reception, because he waits for his blockers to form in front of him. First major for the Calgary Stampeders, and as you can see, a good drive, 75 yards by the Jerry DiTilio-led Calgary Stampeders. It's 8-11. We have 7:40 remaining in the second quarter. We'll be right back.
Stampeders kick off. They trail by 3, and the Argonauts have an edge of 3 in the first downs as well. Scott McGee on the return. McGee out to about the 25-yard line. He's stopped there by Rob Forbes. John Palizzetti also in on the tackle. 22-yard return by McGee off a 62-yard kick. Scott McGee now joins the offensive huddle. Conrad Holloway was good on 11 of his first 12 passes in the ball game. Having a little more trouble with the Stampeder defense lately, though. He's completed only 3 of his last 8 pass attempts.
That's pretty impressive, though. 186 yards throwing the football in the first quarter and a half.
7:20 remaining in the opening half. First and 10 Argos from their 25. Bob Gronk. The big guy has the first down and lots more out across the 45-yard line. Bob Gronk, the second-year man from Queens University, finally stopped at the 46, a gain of 21.
That's the first time that the Argonauts have gone back to the weak side, as Conrad said, everybody moving right, just dumped it off to Gronk, coming back to the left side.
Gronk played in all 16 games for the Argonauts as a rookie, scored 3 touchdowns. He's a Winnipeg native. And he also caught the ball 39 times. Gives the Argos a first down at their own 46. Manuel Tolbert out to about the 53-yard line. Palizzetti making the tackle. Palizzetti starting tonight ahead of Doug Battershill, who has an injured leg. The gain for Tolbert, about 6 yards, second down and 4. Looking at Palizzetti, number 31, the 7-year veteran out of Richmond. Played in Montreal last year, returned back to Calgary on business. Wanted to stay here year-round, make this his home, and all of a sudden he got an opportunity to play for the Stampeders again. Argonauts, second down, about 4 yards to go. Holloway looking for McGee. Great catch by Scott McGee. He was out of bounds, so they rule, and he's not happy with that call. I'd like to see that again. I thought he got a foot down inbound.
Boy, what a tremendous effort. Now look at Conrad. You know exactly how far he's going to get with the official, but I really thought it was a good reception too, Dale. It certainly was a magnificent effort by McGee making this catch. He's got the ball.
Comes down with 1 foot, and then he's pushed out of bounds.
He got them both down. Whoa. I wouldn't be too happy if I was an Argonaut fan either.
Stampeders got lucky on that one. Brings up third down for Toronto.
Yeah, we should remind the fans to stay with us at halftime, because we're going to bring you a very special update on the Dieter Brock situation as he is returned to the Winnipeg Blue Bomber fold.
Look forward to seeing that one, find out what is going on in Winnipeg. Hankelisic's punt goes to Hopkins at the 10-yard line. The rookie out of Murray State in Kentucky brings it back out to about the 27. A 17-yard return for Ron Hopkins. 5:22 remaining. Coming up, more football action. Friday night football returns to CTV tomorrow night. Pat Marston is in Winnipeg, along with Lee Pedersen, Bill Stevenson. They'll bring you the game tomorrow night. J.C. Watt leads the Ottawa Rough Riders into Bomber country. Then on July the 15th, we'll be at Commonwealth in Edmonton as the Eskimos play host to the Blue Bombers a week from tomorrow night. Other football this week in the CFL, Edmonton playing in Hamilton. The season openers for both those clubs next week. BC opening their season in Toronto against these Argonauts. Smith on the receiving end of this Jerry DiTilio pass at the 30-yard line. It's a gain of 3. Second down and 7. Smith, second-year man for the Stampeders, and Tolbert, the man who has the touchdown tonight for the Argonauts on a 24-yard pass and run play with Holloway. Tolbert out of Southern Methodist is a 4-year veteran of pro football. This is actually the first full year in Toronto. Argos got him midway through the 82 season. James Sykes into the middle. Don Moe and Franklin King making a tackle on him at the 35-yard line. It'll be short of the first down. Lyle Woznessensky, number 74, helping out on the tackle. And that brings up the punting situation for the Stampeders.
It's the first time, I believe, James Sykes, the perennial all-star for the Stampeders, touched the football so far tonight.
He has rushed the ball now 3 times, Frank, for a total of 11 yards.
There you go. He's not making an impression on me, obviously. He's gained only 11 yards.
Yeah, you do expect a little bit more from somebody who rushes for 1,000 yards every season. But we're still early in the ball game. Second quarter action. Argonauts lead it 11-8. J.T. Hayes set the punt. Good kick by Hay. Waiting for it. Grincy, number 27, at his own 32. He had a 9.9-yard average last year returning punts, and he's bettered this by a long shot. Corinci brings it inside the Stampeder territory, stopped at the 50-yard line. Bernie Morrison downfield to make the tackle on Corinci. 28-yard return off a 44-yard punt. Corinci, the University of Maryland graduate, who was born in London, England.
Great blocking by the Argonauts as Corinci just had to move a step or two to his right side and found that lane very quickly. Let's see if Conrad Holloway goes to Cedric Minter. You saw him talking to him on the sideline and explaining a pattern that he thought he might be able to get clear with. We have an injured Stampeder on the field, however, so there'll be a slight delay. 3:57 now remains.
Ron Hopkins, the rookie, number 46, out of Murray State in Kentucky, is the injured Stampeder. Causing a delay here in this second quarter. 3:57 to go until halftime.
Stampeders are in a little bit of tough shape in terms of defensive backs. Their all-star Ray Odoms is a designated import in this ball game. It would appear that it's going to be all right.
These two teams opened the 1982 season in Toronto with a 24-24 tie, and you see right now a close ball game here again tonight.
Hopkins, you saw with number 29 on. He normally wears 46. That was just his specialty team's number. He and Richie Hall, the diminutive cornerback at 5'6" and 160 pounds, are two brand new defensive backs for the Stampeders, and Holloway's had a field day.
First down for the Argonauts at the Calgary 50. Holloway threw that one sidearm, trying to get it to Cedric Minter because of the pressure coming from Ed McElhaney. Goes incomplete, second down and 10.
That may be exactly what he was talking about, because he was trying to hit Cedric Minter. Number 20, James West, put a pretty good hit on Minter and kind of destroyed the timing of the play.
Sure did. Second down for Toronto.
Can't trust those linebackers.
Second and 10 for the Argos. Terry Greer, who's only had one pass thrown in his direction tonight, split out wide to the right, and Holloway won't be going to him this time. Completes it to Paul Pearson, coming underneath once more. And Pearson has another first down for Toronto at the 37-yard line. Pearson, a busy man with 7 catches for 91 yards here tonight.
Bill, I think the Stampeder defensive people are going to have some conversations with those defensive backs and find some way to cover that pattern. Pearson has not just been open, he's been uncovered by at least 10 yards every time they've thrown it out in the flat. Conrad knows it.
Every time he catches a pass, it seems to be automatic first down. We have 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining until halftime. Argos on the move again. Minter on the pitch out. Penalty flag goes down. Minter is stopped at the 35. At the hurdle, one tackler, and then fell forward and was stopped by Darrell Toussaint right at the 35, a gain of a couple of yards. Penalty marker was thrown. It's an 11-8 ball game in favor of the Argos. We'll be back in just a moment. Argos caught for holding on that last play, and the run by Minter, wiping out his short gain. It's going to be first down over again, 10-yard penalty. 20 yards to go now, and the ball back at the Calgary 47-yard line. Stampeders making some changes defensively. Kruger had gone in at safety. He's replacing Moyer, but now they've reversed that. Moyer back into the ball game. Hopkins is back in as well after missing 1 or 2 plays. Final from Eastern Canada tonight. Saskatchewan Roughriders winning their opener on the road over Montreal. Gronk, the intended receiver, and that ball just squirted right out of his arms. And it'll be second down and 20 to go. And this time Holloway had a rush in his face once more. James West, the rushing linebacker, putting the heat on him. Second and 20 from the 47. So we have our first final score of 1983 regular season. Saskatchewan defeating Montreal 21-14. Good look at Hank Olisic, possibly getting ready to kick here as the Argos face second and 20. Holloway going long for Colbert. Out of bounds. Moving over with Darrell Toussaint, helping on the coverage. That brings up third down and 20. Holloway's pass is a little too far to Tolbert. So Olysyk's in, and he'll do the punting. 2:38 remaining here in the second quarter. 11-8 ball game in favor of the Argos. Kruger and Richie Hall, the punt return men. We saw quite a bit of Richie Hall in the exhibition season returning punts, and he is exciting. And Olysyk kicking it into the end zone and out of bounds. Depends where they rule this one went out. Official along the sidelines will spot the ball right at the 7.5-yard line. So the Stampeders will have to start deep in their own end. That's a 40-yard kick by Olysyk. Coming up at halftime, viewers in Eastern Canada will see the CTV News, and then we'll have the rest of our halftime. Yesterday in the CFL, Jim Roundtree is the guest this time around. Al McCann will have CFL this week, along with the Rutland Stars of the Week. We'll take a look at some highlights, and as Frank mentioned, we'll have an update on the Dieter Brock situation from Winnipeg. From the 7-yard line, the Stampeders start deep in the hole with 2.5 minutes. Here they go in the second quarter. Pitch to Sykes, being chased to the sidelines and out of bounds. He gained a couple on the play. As Mitchell and Rick Moore forcing Sykes to head out of bounds with it. He's second down and 8. Moore from his defensive end position. Played 9 games last year. He was acquired from BC in a trade prior to the season. He ended up with 6.5 sacks in those 9 games he played. And because Rick Moore is healthy this year, as you look at William Mitchell adjusting his shoe, he's playing the left defensive end spot. That forced the veteran, newly acquired veteran, Lyle Wozniacki, to go to the right side. And it's the first time that Wozniacki's had to play right defensive end. It's been a bit of an adjustment for him. Tilio's stats looking pretty good tonight as well as Holloway's.
Just an equipment adjustment that Mitchell is having to make at this point in time, but he's going to be out of that lineup for at least one play. Gord Elser coming in to replace him in that Argonaut defensive lineup. Lines up at that left linebacking spot.
Second down and 8 for Calgary from their own 9. Looking for Armstead. Willie dropped the ball. The ball was perfectly thrown over the head of the linebacker. Armstead, mind you, was looking back into that sun, and he may have lost it.
Neil, I think he was more concerned with Ken McEachran, number 24. Watched the veteran safety come up. I think Armstead was about ready to try and make a move on McEachran before he had the football, of course. And that is the cardinal sin for a receiver, and an experienced receiver like Armstead normally wouldn't do that. It's going to put the Argonauts in great field position. J.T. Hay doesn't get away a boomer here. There's 2:20 left in this first half. The Argonauts lead by 3.
High snap from Willie Thomas. Hay gets the kick away. Grincey will take it in Stampeder territory. He gets just inside the 50-yard line, where he's smothered by 3 or 4 Calgary Stampeders, led by the center, Willie Thomas. Also downfield, reserve linebacker Mark Nelson, number 82, a 45-yard punt and a return of 4 by Grincey. So the Argonauts will start in Stampeder territory once again. They have 2:13 remaining until halftime, and they'll try to increase their 3-point lead here in the second quarter. Everybody in that backfield goes in motion on first down. Holloway looking deep for Terry Greer. Touchdown, Toronto. Terry Greer, possibly the most dangerous man deep in the CFL, falls in that pass against double coverage.
Dale, you know the Calgary Stampeders should not have been fooled that much on that play. The Argonauts obviously using all sorts of motion all over the field, and they've been doing it all evening, but they had a zone defense back there. Terry Greer just outran them. Watch Greer, he starts to pull up. If we come back with that just a moment, you can see Greer right here about the 25-yard line. He started to stop. The Calgary Stampeder defensive backstop with him, and then he just blew past them.
49-yard score for the Argonauts. Olysyk with the point after. quickly Toronto increases its lead here as they take one play from the 49 to put it in the end zone, and we have 2:04 remaining in the second quarter. It's a 10-point lead for the Argos. Another look.
You can possibly pick up in the right side of your screen when Greer kind of pulls up just a little bit. See, he hesitated just a moment right there and then just took off deep. Moyer and Toussaint are the defensive backs back there. He just split the seam and let Conrad throw it over their head.
What an exciting combination that is. Conrad Holloway to Terry Greer. Last year, Greer picked up 12 touchdowns. Of course, they both were named to the All-CFL team, and Greer was one of 2 unanimous choices to that team.
Yeah, there were a lot of people in Toronto that felt that the Shenley Award winner was going to be an Argonaut, but it could have even been Terry Greer. When Conrad won the nomination from his own ball club, they felt that the award was his, and they were right.
And Greer is supposedly operating at 95% health tonight with that injured elbow.
Nice man. Had quite a nice chat with him prior to this ball game. He was a little concerned, as I said, about his elbow.
Hopkins bringing it out of the end zone to about the 20-yard line. Return of 25. Let's go to Al.
And here with Terry Greer, who seems to be hobbled by an injured right arm. But Terry, it sure didn't hobble you on that pattern. You outran a double coverage thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, just happened to they're not throwing to me much because of my injury. And I was just, you know, taking the time. We get a big one, you know, counted saw it, and the offensive line gave him time, and it was there. So I was just happy, you know, to get that one play in.
It was set up differently because you've been running so many swings and screens, and suddenly, bang, you hit them long.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I guess the coach saw it, and it worked, so I'm just glad it worked.
Looks like the offense is just as good as last year, Terry.
Oh, yeah, I hope so.
I hope you have a great season.
Oh, thanks, man.
Ken McEachern with his 38th career interception, his first as an Argonaut. He had 37, the all-time interception leader for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Goes to the Argos. He comes up with number 38 of his career.
Yeah, let's give credit to that defensive line. Number 58, Earl Wilson, I should say. He's right in the face of Jerry DiTilio as he's going to release this football. I'm sure DiTilio was well aware of it. He just threw that one away. McEachern sitting back there in center field, and a very easy interception for the veteran safety.
McEachern had one something like that last year against Toronto. He returned it 96 yards for a touchdown. First and 10 Argos. They go to work once more. Holloway in a bit of trouble now. He goes down in the arms of Rick Goltz, number 63. Be a loss of 5 yards on the play as the Stampeders finally get to Holloway before he's able to get rid of that football. Rick Goltz, the 6-year veteran under Simon Fraser in his first season with the Calgary Stampeders. Second time they've sacked Holloway.
Pardon me, that's one of the few times that Holloway has basically dropped back with the football. He's been using that quick sprint out or run and shoot type of action all night long, and very successfully. I'm sure he'll go right back to it on this play.
Second and 15 facing the Argonauts. The ball now at the Calgary 47. We have a minute and a half remaining until halftime.
There he goes.
Wide open is Cedric Minner, and he makes the catch down the sidelines. Minner has a first down at the 24-yard line. A 23-yard gain for the Toronto Argonauts, Cedric Minner, and again they're threatening with 1:20 remaining in the second quarter.
I think Minner is such a valuable asset for that Argonaut offense. They have not used him a great deal this evening because those receivers have been so wide open out in the flat. But Cedric, in his third year with the Argonauts, proves that he can catch that football too. Originally from Boise State, he popped it around a little bit, but moved it right down inside the 25-yard line.
That's his fourth catch of the evening. Paul Pearson is open again. Pearson goes down, gets up again, and is stopped inside the 15-yard line. He should have another first down for Toronto.
I don't think there's much question that Pearson's going to be the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League, at least for the first week. 8 receptions now in the first half of this football game. Bobby Obilovich is doing what any good coach should do. He finds something that's working, he's staying with it.
Is it ever working? With a minute to go here in the first half in Calgary, remind you of Friday night football. Tomorrow night, Winnipeg Stadium.
Should say hello to our buddies, so I'm sure already in Winnipeg and watching the telecast tonight. Pat Marsden, Lee Pedersen, and of course Bill Stevenson. Guys, hope you have a good one tomorrow night. We've got a pass-happy ball game here, 18-8, the Argonauts leading.
And looking good here in this opening half. 309 yards for Toronto. 78 yards passing. Holloway rejoins the offensive huddle. First down for the Argos at the 12-yard line. They're threatening a gain thanks to the interception by Ken McEachern. Greer, who has a touchdown, splits wide to the right side. Colbert, who has the other touchdown for the Argos tonight, in motion to the right, takes the pass and drops it. Boy, Holloway could have had a touchdown with Pearson earlier. He dropped one. Now Colbert, like he had room to go from the 10-yard line on in, but he couldn't squeeze it.
You can see Emmanuel's got a sprained finger on his left hand, and that ball hit right where he has it taped. I'm sure that had a lot to do with him dropping that football. 56 seconds remaining now. The Argonauts ahead 18-8 as the Stampeders defense cannot stop Conrad's and crew.
This is 2nd and 10 from the 12. Holloway looking for Pearson, and he threw that ball low. And Conrad is upset with himself, as you see. He had Pearson at the goal line, but pulled the spring on it.
Bill, that's exactly the same kind of play he ran earlier, almost the same position on the field. Conrad threw the ball perfectly that time, and Paul dropped the only one he has in the first half. That time, Holloway did not deliver it very well. Hank Alisic will come in and try to make it a 21-8 ball game.
Nice try, Paul. Nice try. So it's Alisic to try a 19-yard field goal.
He has a very funny kicking style, Bill, compared to most kickers. He does not follow through. He's a punch kicker. Watch him. His foot does not go very far past the ball.
You see, he punches it, and it goes right through the end zone. It shows you the strength in his leg as he connects. And it's now a 21-8 ball game in favor of the Toronto Argonauts. 48 seconds remaining until halftime.
Not really a classic style in terms of a field goal kicker. Not nearly as poetic a follow-through as a kicker like Dave Cutler. However, he does have that extremely strong arm, or strong leg, I should say. You see how quick he stops at the ball. He kicked a 54-yarder, however, in preseason activity, and Obie said he didn't really hit it that well. I don't know if I can believe that. Hank Alisic.
There's Jerry DiTilio going to work with the Stampeder offense now. Middle screen to Sykes. He's got a first down. Sykes takes it out to about the 53-yard line. Gain of about 17, 18 yards for the Stampeders. They're working here with 39 seconds to go in the second quarter, and they trail 21-8. First down play. DiTilio going to Ray Krause. He's got room to move, and he takes it to the Toronto 39.5-yard line. So DiTilio has been effective since he came into the ball game, replacing the injured Bernard Quarles, who played the entire first quarter. 31 seconds until halftime. And the Stampeders pick up 17 more yards. And it's first down at the Toronto 39.5. Looking on the far side for Kazani. He's got him out of bounds. He goes with it at the 26-yard line. Another first down for Calgary. So very quickly the Stampeders are on the move into Toronto territory, and they're threatening to put the ball in the end zone.
Well, that Argonaut defense is laying back a little bit for them right now, and Jerry, with his experience, is taking advantage of it. First down at the 26-yard line. Tom Kazani, of course, a victim of that fumble at the 15-yard line of the Argonauts earlier in this ball game. Under the safety blitz.
They picked it up immediately. James Sykes, the ball carrier, he stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Frank mentioned McEachern was coming on the safety blitz, and they picked it up right at the line. But the Stampeders unable to gain anything on the handoff to James Sykes. DiTilio goes to the bench after the Stampeders call a timeout with 20 seconds to go here in the second quarter.
What a tremendous offensive display it's been. Actually, the Calgary Stampeders have not looked all that bad offensively, but the Argonauts have just been unstoppable with Conrad's Holloway having an extremely hot hand. Paul Pearson with 8 receptions already this evening. You see him on the right-hand side of your screen there, number 25. And excellent protection by that Toronto Argonaut offensive line, although when you talk to coaches about the Argonauts, you compliment the offensive line, and almost to a man, the coaches say, look, Conrads buys the time himself. He gets rid of that ball so quickly. He's on the move while he's throwing that football. He does a lot of it himself.
All right, 20 seconds to go until halftime. Second down for the Stampeders. As you see, neither team has picked up a first down rushing here in this ball game. Vitilio looking for Berzani. He's got him inside the 10. Another first down for the Stampeders.
16 seconds.
Working against Marcellus Green, who just acquired with Woznessensky from Saskatchewan a few weeks ago. First and goal from the 8. Vitilio. Nobody open. Vitilio has to scramble with it. Into the end zone deep. Nobody there. Over the heads of both Berzani and Levenseller. 5 Argonauts right there on top of Vitilio, and he finally got rid of that ball.
I'll tell you, the bad thing from the Stampeder point of view is Jerry was running around back there. As we told you, as the play started, there was only 16 seconds. He burned up almost all of it. There's only 2 seconds now showing on the clock. The Stampeders will have to settle for a field goal.
That's an important point. That play took so long to complete.
That's Leroy Paul covering Mike Levenseller in the corner, who was the intended initial receiver for Jerry Vitilio.
You're looking at J.T. Hay. He'll be trying a 16-yard field goal. Vitilio fakes it. Looking in the end zone for Armstead. He did not get it. Penalty flag goes down.
That will be a first down on the 1-yard line. If the penalty is against the Argonauts.
It is. Stampeder bench is happy now because they will get one more shot at it from the 1. Interference call against the Argos. Unfortunately, we don't know which one they call, but here's a look at it.
Well, it would appear that the newcomer, Lamont Minkum, number 18, was face guarding. I think that will be the call. Although Nicholson was doing exactly the same thing. I think Nicholson actually got his hand on the ball. Whatever, the penalty is against the Argonauts, and Calgary will get one more chance from the 1-yard line. There is no time remaining on the clock.
We'll remind you, that's a new rule this year. Interference in the end zone, and the offensive team gets first down at 1-yard line. There's one try for the Stampeders to put it in. Ray Krause covers the ball. Vitilio picks it up. Ball is still loose. The Argos have it. They stop a touchdown. A big defensive play by the Toronto Argonauts, and the Calgary Stampeders come away with nothing. The gun sounds to end the first half here in Calgary. We'll take another look at Krause.
Just a tremendous effort by the left side of that Argonaut defense. Marcellus Green was one of the initial hitters, as well as the newcomer at that middle linebacker spot, Daryl Nicholson, number 72. I think he made the best contact.
So the score at halftime, Toronto 21 and Calgary 8.
He came to Canada in 1958 and starred for the Toronto Argonauts for 10 seasons. He was named an All-Star 6 times as a defensive back, but number 20 performed as an offensive halfback and kick returner as well. He retired from active play in 1968, but continued as an Argo coach for 7 more seasons. We'll meet this great Argonaut today as Carling O'Keefe Sports presents Yesterday in the CFL. For 20 years, Jim Roundtree was a Toronto Argonaut. A quiet, unassuming man, he stood out on the field and behind the bench. He was with them in their finest hours and through their deepest depressions, yet you never heard him complain. he would always come back in the next game and make the team rise up with him. Jim Roundtree, an all-time Toronto Argonaut. Jim Roundtree graduated from the University of Florida in 1957. In 1958, he started his lengthy playing career in Toronto as a top defensive back, a kick returner, and an offensive halfback. Jim was named to 6 All-Star teams over that 10-year playing career by gambling and picking off over 41 interceptions. In 1968, he hung up his cleats and he joined Leo Cahill's coaching staff. We met where he now resides in Florida. Hey, Jimmy, good to see you.
Good to see you,
25 years since you left Florida, and 25 years later, here you are back again, but you had a lot of fun in between.
I certainly did, John. It was a great period of time that I spent in Toronto, and as a player and as a coach, and I certainly made a lot of friends, and I really cherish those years that I spent in Toronto.
You played 10 years for the Toronto Argonauts. Now, most of it was as a defensive back. Did you come up as a two-way player?
Well, I played predominantly as a running back at the University of Florida. That was what I thought I could do best. But when I got to Toronto, I ran into 2 people that were that kind of were established in that category, and that was Dick Shadow and Dave Mann. So if I was going to make the football team in 1958, I was going to have to play as a defensive back, and I had to make the transition in a hurry, and quite honestly, it wasn't all that easy, but I made it, and I played there for 10 years.
Those years as a coach from 1968 to 73 were really stormy years, weren't they?
Well, you say stormy. I mean, we went to the Grey Cup for the first time in 20 years. When the stormy aspect comes from Leo being so controversial and so forth, and, you know, some of the wild and fantastic statements he was coming out with, which was all a part of, you know, his scheme of things, and getting, you know, the people of Toronto rallied around our cause, and getting the ball players in a frame of mind that we could whip some people.
In 1971, you coached that Grey Cup Argonaut team. Was that team as good as the 60 and 61 teams that you played for?
In my opinion, having played one in the one era and then coached in the other, I'd have to say our 60 team and the 61 team, with the experience we had and the talent that was there, probably was a better team than 71, just due to the fact of the experience that existed with the 60 and 61 team over the 71 team in Toronto.
Following the disappointing loss in 1971 of the Argonauts in the Grey Cup game and a poor finish in 1972, Jim left the team to join Johnny Bassett's Memphis Southmen of the World Football League. When Leo Cahill returned to coach the Argos in 1977, he invited Jim to join him again. The Argos were experiencing growing pains, though, and before long, Jim left football and returned to Florida, where he now heads a construction firm. Jim, when you went out with Leo for the second time in 1978, was that the end of football for Jim Roundtree?
With, you know, the situation that we had in Toronto, it was a very... in my mind, it just wasn't on an up-and-up basis. The whole situation that existed leading to Leo's firing, and I felt as though that if this is what you got to do to progress and advance in coaching, I just didn't want any part of it. I said, I'll get out now and get into something else that, you know, I can supply the needs and wants and so forth of my family and myself.
After 20 years as an Argo, both on the field and behind the bench, how do you remember it all now, Jim?
You know, time has certainly cured some of my ill feelings because of the firing that took place in Toronto. And at this point in time, I can look back and reflect on the great friends, the great football players, the management, Lou Heyman, and the opportunity to work with people like Lou Agassi, and I mean, just the list is never-ending, and it was a great experience for me, and it's an opportunity that I certainly would have hated to miss.
Jim Roundtree, a great Argo for over 19 years, yesterday in the CFL.
Most of us go through dozens of doorways each day without giving it a second thought. But not all doors are open to the disabled. United Way rehabilitation agencies are helping to change public attitudes about the problems of the disabled. With United Way's support, the disabled are able to provide insight to architects and planners.
Our United Way dollars are opening a lot of new doors. Thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
This is the CTV television network.
You are tuned to CFTO-TV Channel 9, in Toronto, Cable 8.
The CFL this week, highlighted, of course, by the start of the 1983 season. But it's not the start for the football players. They have gone through an arduous training camp and, of course, have all played 4 preseason games to get ready for this week that sees the clubs get down to the regular battle. Let's have a look at some of the highlights of that preseason campaign that featured some exciting games. Well, this opening week of the season also starts the Rothman Star.
One moment, please.
Stars of the Week, an integral part of the overall CFL package. I think you're going to enjoy the season, and we're going to be very, very happy to be bringing you a lot of the great games throughout the entire 1983 campaign, of course, and that starts tomorrow night. We have our first Friday night game coming up. Our halftime in a moment.
Well, there's certainly been no lack of highlights in the first 30 minutes of action here at McMahon Stadium, but we promised you an update on the Dieter Brock situation, the story in Winnipeg. Peter Young has it for you right now.
The latest Dieter Brock soap opera began in mid-April when the two-time Shenley Award winner, through his agent Gil Scott, informed the Blue Bombers he would like to get out of the final 2 years and the option year of the $1 million contract he signed 2 seasons ago. Brock's position was that he would like to play 1 more season with the Bombers if they would let him then leave as a free agent to play in either Birmingham or Washington. When it finally became clear the Bombers would not bend and Brock was about to lose a regular season game salary around $13,000, he returned unexpectedly on Wednesday, still claiming money had nothing to do with his holdout.
Money-wise, you know, it's worked out well here, and I had no disagreements with money. You know, you like to be paid well, and of course I have been paid well here, but it just comes back to wanting to get back to, you know, where I feel my roots are in the States, and my family wanting to be down there, and my children. My oldest girl just starting to school, and possibilities after football. I think they're all there in the U.S., and it's something that, you know, I want to pursue.
Brock will naturally not play tomorrow night when CTV presents the Ottawa Rough Riders in Winnipeg. And it's unlikely he'll be ready a week later for the Edmonton game. That makes his return to the Bomber lineup most likely for our Friday night game between Hamilton and Winnipeg on July 22nd.
Well, thank you very much, Peter, for that update. Peter will have further updates on Carleen O'Keefe Sports CFL this week. This Saturday, check your local listings for the time in your area. I would say that Dieter said it rather correctly. Money's not the issue. At $220,000 a year, it shouldn't be. But let's take a look at a couple of highlights from the first half action here tonight. The Toronto Argonauts started out like they were going to run the Calgary Stampeders right out of the ballpark. Conrad Holloway completed 6 passes in a row on this opening drive, 84 yards, and Emmanuel Tolbert of Farmer, Saskatchewan Rough Riders scored the first major for the Argonauts in 1983. They led the Calgary Stampeders 8-1 at this point when the rookie running back, number 24, Ray Krause, took this screen pass from Jerry Titilio. He got some excellent blocking, did a good job of waiting for that blocking, and scored from 24 yards out. That made it Toronto 11, Calgary 8. But Terry Greer, the outstanding receiver for the Argonauts all through 1982, was used only on 1 play in the entire first half. This was it. A 49-yard strike from Conrad Holloway, and the Toronto Argonauts lead the Calgary Stampeders 21-8. We'll be back with second half action in just a moment.
3 quarterbacks have seen action here tonight. Of course, Conrad Holloway is the man going all the way for the Toronto Argonauts, and look at those stats for Connie. 20 out of 32, over 300 yards passing in the first half alone. Titilio came in the second quarter. Quarles played the entire first quarter, then got injured. And Titilio had a pretty good 15 minutes of work, completing 11 of 14. The Argonauts kick off to get this second half underway. And this is the little guy with all the excitement, Darrell Smith, number 23, bringing it back out across the 20 to near the 25-yard line. So the Stampeders will go on offense here in the third quarter. They trail the Toronto Argonauts 21-8. And Dale Isaac with Frank Rigney and Al McCann. McMahon Stadium in Calgary, the opening game of the regular season for both of these clubs.
Yeah, one of the reasons I think that both quarterbacks, and we have it on the screen right now, have been so successful is they've used a variety of receivers. Although Paul Pearson with 8 catches has obviously been the dominant receiver in this football game, they've moved the ball around.
That they have. Titilio starts the third quarter. First down for Calgary, their own 24-yard line. Titilio finds Sykes open. Mitchell's there, and he stops him right about the line of scrimmage. Very little gain on the play. Let's go to Al.
Well, Dale, I've just checked with the Calgary medical staff regarding Bernard Quarles, who is not going to play tonight unless it is absolutely necessary. He has a sprained medial ligament. The doctors say that he could play if necessary, but it would be better to rest the leg, and then he would be able to play probably in the next Calgary game. So they'll likely go with Titilio, barring another injury.
Thanks, Al. Earl Wilson is down again for the Argonauts. He was shaken up in the first half. Missed a couple of plays, then came back. Being attended to right now. He was in on the tackle on Sykes on that last play. Stampeders looking at second and about 9.5 from inside the 25. Wilson appearing to be in some considerable pain at the moment.
He's got a great first half for the Argonauts. And you're looking at Rick Goltz. You know, it's an interesting deal. I was talking to Jack Otta before the ball game, and I asked him whether the former BC Lion, Rick Goltz, was as strong as Ed McElhenney. And he says, you know, Goltz is as strong as anybody. He bench presses about 525 pounds, and he has done an excellent job since moving in to the Stampeder lineup in that front three. He's got an awesome build, a former SFUer from Vancouver. Very pleased to be a new Stampeder.
I mentioned in the first half that Bernie Morrison had won a starting job this year for the Stampeders, allowing the Stamps to use another import on offense, and see Earl Wilson getting back to his feet and heading to the bench. Of course, with the acquisition of Rick Goltz, that frees up another import spot. So if you want to compare the Calgary lineup to last year, where they used 10 imports on defense, they're now only using 8 because they've inserted starting Canadians. Rick Goltz is one of them.
You'll notice that Goltz, a very good friend of Nick Hebler from the BC Lions, wears his red shoes. Hebler, of course, noted in this league for his bright orange ones for the BC Lions. Goltz trying to be his counterpart here for the Stampeders.
All right.
Wilson looks like he's shaking off that injury. A big fella from the University of Kentucky. He's had a great first half, as we mentioned.
Second down and about 9.5 to go for the Stampeders. Levenseller extends himself to make the catch. And I believe it's an incomplete pass. They rule he was out of bounds. That brings up third down. The Stampeders will have to kick it away.
Watch this crossing action. Stop it right there. You'll see Rick Moore coming behind the defensive lineman of the Toronto Argonauts, number 75, Steve Delco, also a SFU grad. And the Calgary Stampeders do an excellent job of picking up that rush by the Toronto Argonauts. Watch this grab. Mike did not manage to get down in bounds, but what an excellent effort by the youngster.
J.T. Hay to punt. Quincy and Townsend are the return men. Number 30, Townsend from the 46. Stampeders stop him shy of the 50-yard line. That punt traveling 40 yards, the return held to just 4. So the Argos will have the ball for the first time in the second half when we come back. They lead it 21-8. We'll return in just a moment. We're looking at the Calgary bench. That's new offensive line coach Pat Hill diagramming the play for his offensive lineman as the defense is now on the field. You see the Argonauts leading this ball game here in the third quarter. No scoring so far in the second half. Toronto with the ball. First 10 from their own 50. The earlier game tonight played in Montreal, Saskatchewan, defeating the Concord 21-14. 13.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Holloway opens up with a pass to Tolbert. A gain of close to 5 yards. Well, they spotted back at about the 53.5-yard line, so it's a gain of just a little more than 3. James West, number 58, making the tackle on Tolbert, who has a touchdown for the Argos tonight. That came in the opening drive of the ball game.
He also made a fine reception right over the middle from Conrad Holloway, picking up 28 yards on the play, so he's had a fine evening. We're just into the second quarter of tonight's action. The Argonauts 21-8 over the Stampeders.
Toronto looking at 2nd and 6.5. Holloway in an option, pitches it off to Bob Gronk. The ball is loose. Still loose. Argonauts have got it. Scott McGee maintains possession for Toronto at the 26-yard line. What a break for Toronto.
All right, how many comments are we going to have about the Argo bounce?
31-yard gain. That bizarre play turns into for Toronto, and the man who made it happen was Scott McGee. Boy, he was heads up on that play.
It was just an excellent play by Conrad Holloway, pitching that ball out to Bronk at exactly the right time, but a very fortunate set of circumstances for the Argonauts to retain possession.
Holloway throws incomplete to Tolbert, and that last play turns into the only first down of the ball game by rushing.
If you want to call it that.
Call it what you want. Here's the hit. Coming from behind is Troutman. Now watch. He hits with his helmet, and there goes the ball. Second down and 10 for the Argos at the Calgary 26.
John Palisetti coming out of the lineup as the Stampeders put in a 6 defensive back. 2nd and 10.
Holloway gets outside. Looking for Minter. He's got him at the 4-yard line. Minter just planted his feet in bounds and made the catch for a gain of 22. It's 1st and goal. Beautiful pass by Holloway, and what a job by Minter to make the reception. Injured ball player Randy Troutman.
I'll tell you, I really didn't see it with that replay, but Conrad Holloway made that play himself by getting to the outside. They were not able to contain him. He picked up that extra couple of seconds to find Minter, as you see Troutman down. But I really do agree with the coaches around the Canadian Football League to say Conrad Holloway buys that time to throw the football himself. Just a great individual effort. Watch his effort to get outside. See, he's stopping, ready to pull up right there. Now he just uses his quickness to get to the outside. That's James West, number 58, the linebacker, who should provide the containment on the play, was not able to.
Randy Troutman leaving the playing field. Rick Goltz will move into the nose guard position, and Scott MacArthur, the 3rd-year Canadian out of the University of Calgary, moves in at left end. 1st and goal, Argos. The ball at the Calgary 4. Argos opening up the 3rd quarter the way they did the 1st quarter. Holloway in trouble this time. He may have gained a yard on the play, but the Stampeder defense shut down that right side of the Argonaut offense. There was just no room over there at all. He had to try to go it up the middle himself.
That was an attempted option play by Holloway, with Bronk coming along behind him. The very similar type of play to the one that Bronk fumbled a moment ago and turned into the biggest ground game for the Argonauts all evening long.
Troutman's okay. He comes back in for this, basically a goal line stand. Moyer, the safety, comes out. Holloway looking for Pearson, and again he's wide open for the touchdown. Pearson has been open all night long on those short passing plays, swinging out of that slot back position. Either receiver taking the defenders deep, and Pearson is just having a great night. His 9th catch for 106 yards and a touchdown.
Stop it right there. You'll see Pearson has just left your screen. Now watch Bernie Morrison, number 72. Stop it right there. You'll see Morrison is still 5 yards away from Paul Pearson, and Pearson's in the end zone. They are getting mismatches all night long with those linebackers having to cover backs out of that backfield.
And it's been that way since the opening play of the ball game for Toronto. Alyssa converts the touchdown. The penalty marker goes down. We have 10:51 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Here's another look at the touchdown.
You'll see how far away Bernie Morrison, the linebacker, number 72, is away from Pearson when he catches the football. Look at that. Just can't be.
So the Argonauts are now in front by 20. We'll return to McMahon Stadium in just a moment. There are some Argonaut fans here in Calgary. Possibly they're here for the Stampede, which starts tomorrow. Right now, the Argos in front by 20. They were penalized for rough play after the convert, and they're kicking off from their own 30. This is Smith again on the return. Boy, he's got some room now. Smith brings it back to midfield. A great run back of 48 yards by Darrell Smith. And it gives the Stampeders excellent field position.
You realize that Hank Alisic hit that ball 75 yards. He kicked off from his own 35. And Smith had to make the reception at the 5. He outkicked his coverage. Excellent return by Smith, and they desperately needed to get back in this ball game. They have first down at midfield. 10:32 remains in the 3rd quarter.
The guy we expected to see a lot of on the returns tonight was Richie Hall, the rookie, but Smith been the guy that's been doing most of the returns for Calgary tonight. Here's DeCilio completing a pass to Forzani for a first down at the Toronto 42. Covered by Marcellus Grain. He beats the coverage for first. And the Stampeders trying to take advantage now of that excellent return by Darrell Smith. Forzani, the 11-year veteran for the Stampeders.
The last of the 3 Forzani brothers to play for these Stampeders. Well, when he goes, it's going to be like 20 years that the Stampeders have had a Forzani in the lineup.
There's Forzani. Before the game, as you take another look at this play, We were standing around the Stampeder offices. Then he came through with a couple of cans of film. I said, it's kind of late for that. He says, well, you're my age, you need all the help, all the advantage you can get. James Sykes, the ball carrier, gets to the 40-yard line, a gain of a couple on the play. Nicholson is there. And as well, William Mitchell, the linebacker's making the stop. Give him a 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7.
You can see the blocking action by the Calgary Stampeders as they attempt to cross-block in that middle of the line. Nicholson just doesn't go for it. He stands his ground and does an excellent job of picking up James Sykes for a very limited gain, about 2 yards. Good job on the extra.
2nd and 7. Armstead is open. Takes a catch from DeTilio. First down for Calgary. The ball now near the Toronto 27-yard line. A gain of 12 for Armstead.
First down, Calgary.
Stampeders moved the ball late in the second quarter and ended up with nothing as they were stopped on the 1-yard line by the Argos. And they're on the move again. Since then, the Argos, of course, have increased their lead on the touchdown by Paul Pearson. 28-8 in favor of Toronto. 9 minutes remaining. We're in the third quarter. Ray Krause, the other side, looking against Lamont Meacham, and he stopped at the 20-yard line. A gain of 8 yards for Ray Krause. He has a touchdown tonight for Calgary.
Meacham and Paul, tackle by the Argos.
Both of these ball clubs working to the outside perimeters of the defenses. Not many balls thrown down the middle this evening. Dale, in a relative sense, they've thrown so many that obviously there's going to be some.
Tilio starting to work both sides of the field just the way Holloway has done successfully tonight. 2nd and 2. Krause breaks the tackle. First down, 12-yard line. He was stopped by Franklin King, the defensive tackle, who got back there to make the stop after Krause had broken a tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Meacham also got a good piece of number 18, and it's a good thing he did. Meacham, by the way, was an all-state running back in high school for 3 years in a row in the state of Pennsylvania, which means he's a heck of a football player. He's a rookie, number 18.
He had a busy offseason. He'd agreed to contracts with 3 different teams in 3 different leagues before he finally signed with Toronto. There's Krause again. Stopped at the line of scrimmage.
That'll give a few general managers some gray hair, won't it?
He said after all that, he finally got rid of his agent. He said enough's enough already and signed with Toronto.
Good defense by the Argonauts as that completed pass goes for a 1-yard loss.
2nd and 11 from the 13-yard line.
Gee, when you're throwing it at 80% completion ratio, you'd think you'd be winning the ball game, but not so for Jerry DeTilio.
He's over 200 yards. Holloway's over 300. Touchdown, Calgary. Forzani was on
he's in the end zone.
That's a touchdown for the Stampeders. The veteran Tommy Forzani puts up 6 points for the Stampeders.
Tommy didn't go too far into that end zone. One of the officials, as a matter of fact, signaled they didn't think he was in, but he definitely had crossed that barrier. See, his right foot is over the goal line. Good throw by Jerry DeTilio, who's having a great evening throwing the football, just not as good as Conrad Holloway. Calgary comes right back to get into this ball game. 28-14 now.
Here's J.T. Hayes' convert. It is good. 28-15. Toronto leading Calgary with 7:08 to go here in the third quarter. So back-to-back touchdowns by these two teams in the second half. Paul Pearson for the Argonauts. Tom Forzani for the Stampeders. And that touchdown drive, of course, set up by an excellent kick return by Darrell Smith, who took it all the way back to midfield. So now it'll be the Stampeders' turn to kick off as they trail by 13. We're going to take another look at the touchdown by Forzani. Remember, all he has to do is break the plane to the goal line.
Pretty good angle to see this throw from Jerry DeTilio as well. Wide open, Tom Forzani. 28-15. Dieter going home. Well, he is home as far as Winnipeg Blue Bombers fans are concerned. Returning to Winnipeg just day before yesterday.
Here's Terry Leschuk, the junior, kicking off. Scott McGee takes it from the 1-yard line. McGee turns it up the middle and crosses the 30, and he's stopped by Ray Krause and Mike Levenseller at about the 33. A 65-yard kickoff that time by Leschuk, and the Argonauts going offense. First down. 7 minutes to go in the third. Argonauts in front by 13. Ray Krause, an excellent special teams player, as well as a regular running back. Joining James Sykes in the backfield. Jack Oda claims it's the best combination in the backfield he's had since the days of Willie Burton and James Sykes back in '79. And they were a real threat in the West. Conrad Holloway couldn't find anybody open. Gets out to the 35 for a gain of a couple.
Yeah, one thing about Conrad is he doesn't take a whole lot of time back there. He looked for receiver, looked for another one. They were both covered. Bang. He's going to take off with it.
The whole premise of the Argonaut offense is make your mind up in a hurry, get rid of the ball or run with it. Don't hang around.
Harry Kruger coming in, number 37 now for the Stampeders as a 6th defensive back. They do that quite often on second and long. All the motion continues for the Argonauts.
Minter should have a first down for Toronto. They really stepped out right at the 43-yard line, which would be right at the yardstick. Minter swinging out of that backfield.
And it's pretty obvious he knows exactly where that first down marker is. Let Cedric get out of bounds.
Hopkins and Irvin making sure he goes out of bounds and no further.
He destroys a little equipment over there.
He knocked down the telephone, and the phone was ringing from the spotter's box. Kind of a rude way to answer, I'd say.
It is a first down, Toronto from the 43. Holloway has a lot of room to run. Another first down for Toronto at the 54. Holloway not taking any chances on getting hit. He saw the opening and headed for the sidelines. Move the yardsticks. Another series of downs coming up for Toronto. Holloway passing for over 300 yards tonight has put the Argonauts in front right now by 13. 341 yards passing now for Holloway.
Argonauts beat the Stampeders here last year 34-30 in a great ball game. It was 24-24 when they met in Toronto in '82.
Bob Bronk puts his head down and just drives forward for a gain of about 4 yards. John Palazetti making the tackle from that outside linebacking spot, number 31. Second down and about 6 yards to go. They've moved into Calgary territory now at the 52. 5 minutes to go in the third. Palazetti now comes out, 6 DBs again for the Calgary Stampeders. Holloway looking for Greer, and he overshoots him. Penalty flag down in the offensive backfield. Holloway taking a bit of a late hit, but that's not the call. It's going to be holding against the Argos. Holloway getting help to his feet. Bob Bronk.
I believe it was Rick Goltz, number 63, that put the heat on Conrad Holloway coming from the top of your screen. What's number 63? Well, he did not get to Holloway before the ball got there. Penalty going against the Argonauts with 4:43 remaining. The Argonauts will have to kick it away.
The Illicic's average for tonight, a little under 40. Hopkins and Hall are the return men, both standing inside their own 5. Illicik going for the far sideline. Hopkins on one hop. Brings it out across the 10. The Argos were downfield quickly. Steve Aykroyd was the first man there to make the hit on Hopkins at the 14-yard line. So the Stampeders will have to start deep again. 43-yard punt, 5-yard return. Argos leading by 13. We'll be back in just a moment. Calgary Stampeders marched 55 yards. Touchdown by Tom Presenti. The last time they had the ball, they're going to have to go a lot farther than that this time. They're starting from their own 14-yard line. where they're 1st and 10. They're in Tilio, the quarterback. 4:22 remaining in the third, and the Argonauts in front 28-15. Levenseller and Forzani, the wide receivers. Smith and Armstead, the slot backs. Carlson Sykes, the running back. Tilio looking for Levenseller coming across the middle. He's got him at the 25-yard line, 1st down. Levenseller taking a pretty good hit on the play from Wilson. He bounces right back up. 1st and 10, Calgary at their own 26. Levenseller saw a lot of action, of course, in the early stages of the 82 season with Edmonton. Brian Kelly was out with an injury. Started this year with the Eskimos and then was traded to Calgary just a couple of weeks ago. First down for the Stampeders. Sykes and Krause. Motion left. Armstead. Ball pops loose. The Argonauts have got it. Leroy Paul. He is stopped right at the 35-yard line. The Argonauts with another break take over in Calgary territory. Holloway and the offense come out of the field. Only Armstead had a first down, but he lost control of the football.
Well, the Stampeders just time after time have hurt themselves, dropping the football. Forzani did it, now Armstead did it, and this is really a bad point on the field to have a miscue like that. At the 35-yard line, the Argonauts will take over. They have a 13-point lead with 3:14 remaining in the third quarter.
Leroy Paul with the turnover. Holloway going for Minter, just over his hands inside the 10-yard line. Brings up 2nd down from the 35-yard line as you see Minter head back to the huddle. Leroy Paul, of course, a veteran of 5 years in the CFL. He saw action with Edmonton, then with Saskatchewan. Of course, most of his CFL action has been in Hamilton. Last year, he had 3 interceptions with the Tiger Cats. In 1981, he was an Eastern All-Star in Hamilton. Now playing the corner for the Toronto Argonauts. Argos 2nd and 10 from the Calgary 35, trying to take advantage of the turnover. Holloway going deep down the middle for Terry Greer. He is caught at the 5-yard line by Terry Irvin. 1st and goal, Argos, 30-yard gain.
Well, and you know that Conrad Holloway saw that blitz coming, knew it was man-to-man coverage, and was looking for only one spot, Terry Greer. Terry Irvin trying to cover the great receiver one-on-one, just had to give too much room to Greer. And another big first down for the Argonauts as they continue to throw this football almost at will. Over 700 yards now of total offense, and we're still in the third quarter.
Conrad Holloway has looked every bit as sharp as he did all of last season, and this is the opening game of victory. Holloway to Bob Gronk, touchdown Toronto. A fumble by Armstead, recovered by Leroy Paul. The Argos moving into the end zone from 35 yards out. Bob Gronk getting the major.
What a costly error by veteran Willie Armstead, fumbling that football, giving the Argonauts excellent field position, and what a great offensive display they've come up with tonight. Conrads has just used everybody in that lineup. Gronk has not been a big factor as a pass receiver, nor has Terry Greer in terms of number of catches. He's got major score and sets this one up.
Hank Olesic with the convert attempt. It is good. And the defending Eastern champion Toronto Argonauts increased their lead to 35-15 over the Calgary Stampeders. And, of course, the Argos are virtually everybody's pick to repeat as champions of the East. And, boy, do they look good tonight. With 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter, they lead by 20. It didn't take them long that time to put it in the end zone.
You know, we talked a lot about the football broadcast we're going to be doing over the coming weeks, but there's another big show that's going to be on July 17th, and that's a $500,000 rodeo called the Calgary Stampede. The Stampede, of course, started today here in Calgary. But we'll be on the air live at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time with the biggest rodeo in the world. I'm going to be right back there with the bulls. That's the only place I'm more scared than a football field is when you get back there with those cowboys and those wild animals.
It's a little hairy in there, doesn't it?
I keep my distance.
Big parade here tomorrow in Calgary. Olesic puts this one almost 10 yards deep. It's Hopkins on the return. And he is cut down as he comes across the 20-yard line by Gord Elser, an excellent special teams player for the Argonauts. A return of 30 by Hopkins, and Lissick that time of the 73-yard kickoff. So now the Stampeder offense back on the field. They cannot afford any more mistakes. Let's go to Al McCann.
Well, I'm standing here with offensive left tackle Tom Trefo, who is out of the University of Calgary. Tom, you got to have a little bit of special satisfaction coming in here with a potent offensive team.
Well, it feels good right now, but I'll tell you what, the good old CFL, this game's a long, long way from being over yet.
Your offensive team's playing awfully sharp, though, Tom.
Well, you know, it's that extra year we've had last year together, and this year things are starting to go well. We're starting to gel pretty well, and, you know, become a little bit of a family.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks very much.
That was DeTilio going to Sykes on first down, and very little gain on the play. The Argonauts closed in on him in a hurry. There's an injured ball player.
You know, that comment by Tom was so true. In talking to Obi before the ball game, I asked him the biggest difference this year as opposed to 1982, his rookie year as head coach, and he said they really haven't had to spend as much time teaching the new system and the new situation because, of course, they installed a whole new offense and defense last year. They've got many people back, although they've had a lot of changes defensively. Offense, they've not had to change too many people. As you see Tom Krebs, the offensive center of the Stampeders, down on the field. But I think the maturity of the offensive people playing together is certainly showing itself here tonight for the Argonauts.
Now you see concern over at the Stampeder bench. The injury to Tom Krebs, veteran trainer Alec Resky is out there working on him. Got him sitting up now. Of course, that's a good sign. 1:28 to go here in the third quarter. Well, starting tomorrow night, it's the first of 11 consecutive Fridays football on CTV, and it gets underway tomorrow night with Pat Myers, Blake Patterson, Bill Stevenson at Winnipeg Stadium as the Bombers play host to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Of course, Dieter Brock is back with the Bombers. Will not play tomorrow night, but J.C. Watts is back with Ottawa. He will play tomorrow night. Friday Night Football returns to CTV tomorrow evening.
Tommy Krebs, the son of a former great Calgary Stampeder, Hal Krebs. You see the offensive line at the Argonauts. I don't know why they'd be getting any instructions at this point. I think they've been doing a great job.
He picks up that guy like that. See what I'm saying? Okay.
You got that? You better. Second down for the Stampeders. Zanny over the shoulder catch. First down for Calgary. I think he may have got a face masking call as well. Marcellus Green making the tackle for Toronto up at the 44.
Yeah, we've talked an awful lot about Conrad Holloway. I don't remember Jerry DeTilio throwing the ball any better than he has this evening. That ball was in the only spot that Zanny could have made the reception.
DeTilio's done an excellent job since he came in to start the second quarter, replacing the injured Bernard Quarles. It is a face masking call against the Toronto Argonauts' Marcellus Green. That moves the ball into Toronto territory at the 51.
Major foul, face mask, Toronto number 21, first down.
Marcellus Green played 13 games with the Argos in 1981, was traded to Saskatchewan, was there all of 82, and then, of course, just rejoined the Argonauts along with Lyle Wozniacki a couple of weeks ago. First and 10, Stampeders, last minute of the third quarter. Penalty flag goes down. DeTilio in trouble. Looking for Sykes, and he's throwing the ball just a little too far for the running back to get to it. Mike Levenseller was in the area. Too far for him as well.
The holding call against the Calgary Stampeders as well, Dale. You see Jerry DeTilio signaling to his bench that will be the call against his offensive unit.
46 seconds remain here in the third quarter.
Holding, 61 Calgary, declined, second down.
Willie Thomas, the left guard, caught for holding.
Not very many penalties, and as our statistician Bob Lees has pointed out to us, there has not been a no-yards penalty. I don't know the last time I've seen three-quarters of CFL action when that has been the case there.
I hope that
hope it continues
for the rest of the year. Second and 10. Zanny was there, and so was Marcellus Green to knock it away. He was open for a second, and DeTilio had the ball where it should have been, and Marcellus Green did a good job of coming around the receiver to knock it down. And that brings up third down for the Stampeders. Just 25 seconds remaining here in the third. Argos lead by 20. J.T. Hay to punt. Pretty good average considering he's been bothered by a back injury all week. Oh, Wilson almost blocked it. Hay gets it away to the 4-yard line. Corinci on the return. Palazetti first man there to make the tackle at the 10-yard line. 47-yard kick that time by Hay, and a return of 6. And that'll do it. The gun sounds at the end of 3 quarters of play here at McMahon Stadium. The Argos lead at 35-15 over the Stampeders, and we'll return with fourth quarter action in just a moment. After 3 quarters of play, the Toronto Argonauts leading on the scoreboard and in the offensive statistics. And they have the football first and 10 at their own 11-yard line. Holloway to Minter. Across the 15, Minter takes it out to the 18-yard line. Hopkins, Moyer, and Bass making the tackle. Gain of about 7 yards. Second down for Toronto as you look at the stats once more after 3 full quarters.
Bill, I hope that the Canadian Football League in 1983 shows those kind of numbers all year long.
I hope those clouds in the background there are going the other way.
Well, as you know, in the last couple of days, we've had great weather and then storms going in and out of Calgary all day and all night.
Second and short. Holloway's in trouble. He may lose a yard or 2 on second down and 2. Stampeders defense that play well, and that brings a kicking situation for the Argos. Hank Alissa comes back in the ball game. And the Stampeders drop Richie Hall and Ron Hopkins back deep. Something new has been added here for the mascot of the Stampeders. Ralph the dog is now riding around the field on a motor scooter. Try and get Alysic's hang time on this punt once more.
He's actually hit the field goals in extra points a little bit.
Tucson blocks it. Goes straight up in the air. The Stampeders wait for it. And a big break for Calgary at the 5-yard line. They led the league last year and blocked 6 with 4 of them. And Darrell Tucson is the man who got to that one. That's James West who took the ball in the end zone, but it's Calgary's possession at the 5.5.
Dale, we talked about that earlier. Darrell Tucson coming from that outside. Watch as he comes in on Hank Alissa. He makes the move. They tie up the up blockers, and Tucson goes straight to the inside. Takes an excellent pattern to block this punt. Watch him go to the inside now. Just an excellent play by the Stampeders, and Jocko told us before this ball game started he thinks he can get one. He did.
Tucson blocks it and went straight up. They waited for it to come down. Calgary first and goal. 5.5. Detilio, end zone pass for Berzani. Touchdown, Calgary. "24 yards deep in the end zone. Berzani has his second touchdown of the night.
And I'll tell you, he's only in that end zone by about 1 step. All of a sudden, the Stamps are coming back.
He only scored 2 touchdowns all of last year, and he's got 2 here tonight in the opener of '83 season.
What a tremendous offensive display this ball game has been. And watch the time that Detilio has to throw the football. James Sykes standing in front of him for extra protection. Didn't even need it.
Just got that 1 foot in bounds for the major score.
Was that Ken McEachran back there? Number 24.
J.T. Hay converts Berzani's touchdown. Let's go to Al McCann.
I just wanted to say, fellas, Tom Trefo, who I talked to a few moments ago, said it. He said it about right. He said you can never be sure in the Canadian Football League. No lead is big enough.
It's a great throw once again by Jerry Detilio, who's had an outstanding evening. As we've mentioned several times, overshadowed possibly by Conrad Holloway, but a great night in his own right.
And, of course, he didn't play the first quarter.
A big block kick by Darrell Tucson, number 21, who specialized in that type of act in his 2 years with the Calgary Stampeders. There's been 7 touchdown throws in this ball game.
And of course, the Stampeders, through most of this ball game, have been guilty of turning the ball over. They finally got a big break their way, and they capitalize on it. So they'll be kicking off from their own 45. We have a lot of time left in this one. 13 minutes, 16 seconds to go in the fourth. Bob Obilovich knows this one's far from over. Toronto leads by 13. Leschuk with the kickoff. McGee at the 10. McGee spins off one man and runs right into Mark Nelson. He stops him shy of the 25-yard line. A 14-yard return by Scott McGee. So the Argonauts will start from their own 23, first and 10.
Dale Hankalisic was just telling me that's the first time he's had a punt.
I think we lost Al there momentarily.
Daryl Toussaint blocking Hankalisic attempted punt. Sets up a major for the Stampeders.
First down for the Argos at their own 23. Big pressure on Holloway, and what a beautiful job he did to get away to Bob Gronk, who has a lot of running room and blockers in front of him. Gronk takes it out to the 51-yard line.
Well, what a beautiful offensive play. Just cutting it back against the grain. Gronk picks up 28 yards, and just a quick inside screen as Holloway had actually rolled past where Gronk had set up.
Another 28 yards for Conwedge Holloway passing tonight. He is now getting close to the, or he has surpassed the 400-yard mark in passing. He's at 404. First and 10 from the 51. Penalty marker down. Colbert wide open. Stopped at the Calgary 50 by Terry Irvin. They're giving him a good spot on that play. They're going to put the ball at the Calgary 49, which would be very close to another first down.
It may be called back. I think it was a motion penalty against the Argonauts. That will happen the odd time with all the backs that the Argonauts move around. Receivers that are not on that line of scrimmage must clearly give a yard.
First down, Peter.
Sounded like he called Cedric Mitter, number 20, for a procedure. 5-yard penalty, first down over again from the 46. 35-22. Toronto leading Calgary with 12:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. Holloway just got rid of the ball in time, and he really had something on it, and Paul Pearson was able to squeeze it. It's second down and 15. Attendance tonight here in Calgary, 25,100.
Randy Troutman, number 62, putting good pressure on quarterback Conrad Holloway. One of the few times that they've managed to get that penetration through that offensive line. Tony DeTuna from SFU, the offensive center for the Argonauts, and Troutman got by him on that one.
Sinovic was the first-round draft for the Argos in '82, but he only played 6 games, injured most of the year. Second down, 15. Holloway's pass was intended for Manuel Tolbert, went off his hands, incomplete. It's third and 15. Hopkins with the close coverage that time on Tolbert.
Here's Antinovic right in the middle of your screen, number 54. Turnabout's fair play. Does a pretty good job this time. Randy Troutman is not the easiest defensive lineman to keep out of there, but I think Tony did a good job. And Troutman got quite a shot in the back by Tom Truffaut after the play was over. Knocked his helmet right off, as you saw.
Hankalisic to punt on third and 15.
There he comes again.
Toussaint coming hard, didn't get to it this time. He was blocked out of the play, and Alisic's kick, he hurried it, and he sent it out of bounds, and it's going to be another short kick charged against Alisic. Toussaint is hurt on the play. They'll spot the ball at the Calgary 34-yard line. That's a 30-yard kick by Hank Alisic. 11:26 remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Argos lead it by 13. We'll be back in just a moment. And this is a scene that we never like to see at a football game or any other sporting event. They have brought out the stretcher for Daryl Toussaint, who was injured as he was charging hard once more, trying to block that last punt by Hank Olisic. Here's another look at it.
Watch Bob Brock, the big fullback, number 34. He's well aware of the fact that Toussaint got in on Hank Olisic on the previous punt, and he gives Toussaint quite a shot. It would appear that Toussaint, yes, just as he went down, we can stop it right there. If you watch Toussaint just as he falls, that's where he appears to have hurt his leg. They are bringing him off the field now by stretcher. Toussaint only 160 pounds, and Jocko before the ball game was talking specifically about Darrell and his kick blocking ability, and he says, you know, there isn't a fiercer player that the Calgary Stampeders have. He really goes after everybody all the time. A very major loss for the Calgary Stampeders, who are already missing Ray Odoms, their outstanding cornerback in that defensive lineup. A high-scoring football game here at McMahon Stadium, as you see Toussaint obviously in a lot of pain. Being taken to the Stampeder dressing room. Toussaint in his second year with the Calgary Stampeders. Out of Northwestern State, as I say, only 165-pounder. He's 6 feet. Had 2 interceptions last year and blocked 2 kicks very early in the season for the Stampeders in 1982.
See, now they loaded Toussaint onto a small golf cart. It's taken the rest of the way to the dressing room. And the Stampeder offense is now ready to go to work. 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line. We have 11 and 15 remaining in the 4th quarter. Tilio looking for Darrell Smith, and he threw that one just a little too far for Smith. That's 82 passes have now been thrown tonight.
There's your interlocking record. As you can see, the highest scoring game ever between these two teams. It was just last year they scored 64 points when the Argonauts beat Calgary right here 34-30. We already have 57 on the board, and with 11 minutes left to go,
time for lots more.
That record could certainly be in jeopardy.
2nd and 10 for the Stampeders. Man was open, Darrell Smith, but moving over very quickly to knock the ball out of the way was Leroy Paul. He almost had his 2nd turnover of the night. He had a fumble recovered earlier, but he knocked this one down. There's a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage.
A great addition, Leroy Paul, to this Argonaut defensive backfield. He was an all-star in 1981 when he was at the Hamilton Ticats, 5th year in the Canadian Football League, and a very appropriate knockdown.
Holding 61 Calgary.
Billy Thomas, as you can hear, called once again for holding the Stampeders, but that obviously will be refused. It has not been a penalty filled game. It's been a very clean football game.
Stampeders have to punt the ball away on 3rd and 10 from their own 34. J.T. Hay doing the kicking. Townsend bobbled it, got it right back. He stopped at about the 36-yard line. It looked at first that Townsend was going to back off on the play and let Rinzi take it. Then they changed their minds. Townsend got the football. The Argonauts will have it when we come back. They lead it 35-22. We'll return in just a moment. Another injury here tonight in this football game. You see Ron Hopkins, the rookie out of Murray State, being helped to the Calgary bench. He was injured on that last punt. He was in on the tackle on Jeff Townsend, and he came up limping, favoring that left leg. Jack Porter was saying yesterday about having that break after tonight. They don't play for a couple of weeks, and usually most teams like to see a break later on in the year. Goda was happy that they got the break now, not only because they have rookie quarterback who is also injured, but now with injuries piling up here against the Stampeders.
Dale, they had to do something they didn't want to do, too, and that is put Ray Odoms in the ball game, number 32, at that right cornerback. He's had a severely strained calf muscle. They wanted to keep him out of this ball game.
1st down, Toronto. Colbert wide open again in that flat. 1st down for the Argos out near the 50-yard line. Harry Kruger, the 6th DB, in on the play, making the tackle. Let's go to Al.
Well, they say it never rains, but it pours, and certainly the Stampeders can attest to that. I have just returned from the Stampeder dressing room area. Darrell Toussaint has left by ambulance for hospital, and it appears very, well, almost certain that he has a broken leg, which certainly is a terrible blow to the team and to Darrell.
First down for the Toronto Argonauts from their own 50. And Paul Pearson, the intended receiver, that just slipped right through his hands. Pass a little bit low, but certainly catchable. Darryl Moyer watching Pearson on the play. 2nd and 10 from the 50. And we certainly don't like to hear that kind of news. Possible broken leg for Darrell Toussaint.
You kind of had the feeling all along tonight, Dale, that the Argonauts could move the football at will, throwing it any event, and now with those injuries, be hard pressed for the Stampeders to bottle up this potent Argonaut offense.
Stampeders have been stubborn, though. It looked like with all the yardage the Argos were piling up, they'd put this one away. Holloway in a bit of trouble, throws to Tolbert off his fingertips along the sidelines, and a penalty marker goes down in the offensive backfield.
You look all the way down at the end of the field, one of the Argonaut receivers, I believe it was Terry Greer, was 25 yards behind any Stampeder defender. Conrad just didn't have time to pick him out.
Penalty here against the Stampeders. Get the call from head referee Bud Ulrich.
Major foul, roughing the passer, 63 Calgary. First down.
You say 63 Golds?
He did.
So it's 15 yards for the Toronto Argonauts. That moves the ball into Calgary territory. First down, Toronto at the 45. 9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Argos in front, 35-22. Holloway again gets away from West. Goes for a first down inside the 35-yard line. Holloway has just had an excellent night here in Calgary.
Bill, you know, again, talking to Jocko before the ball game, Conrad's just slid, as you saw, to go down and get that first down. Jocko doesn't like his quarterbacks to do that. He said that a lot of them just don't know how to do it, and they can be injured very easily. But, of course, Conrad's a great baseball player in his own right. I think he's well experienced at that move.
Jocko added, we don't have time to teach him how to slide. He can. 34-yard line, 1st and 10. Cedric Minner on the pitch from Holloway, and he's caught in the backfield by Ed McElhinney. Also there to force the play was John Alazeni, and now a penalty flag is thrown.
Well, Dale and Frank, more bad news for Calgary Stampeder followers. Number 46, Ronald Hopkins, now is out of the game. He has re-sprained his left ankle. It was injured prior to the game. Apparently now he has damaged it even more. He will not be going back in. Alec Rescue, the trainer, he's as busy as a one-arm paper hanger, I'll tell you.
Bad news all around for the Stampeders here tonight. They're trailing by 13 here in the fourth quarter, and more injuries all the time. And a penalty here now against Toronto.
Objectionable conduct, Toronto, number 21, 2nd down.
Well, does he mean 21? That's Marcellus Green.
I don't think he meant 21.
I think he meant Minter, number 20, who I think said something after that tackle by Ed McElhinney.
Minter is limping a little bit as he goes in motion now on 2nd down and 20 for the Argonauts. Holloway to Terry Greer. Penalty flag is down. Greer has room. Gets to about the 36, which is 2 yards shy of the original line of scrimmage.
Freddie Fleming, our ISO director, tells us that James West, number 58, the extremely active linebacker of the Stampeders. You stop it right there, you'll see West as he's coming in. He apparently is the one that's going to be called for roughing. Takes a shot at Conrad's after the ball was released.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Calgary, first down.
It was pretty easy to determine that West could have stopped. He did not need to follow through and hit Holloway. I agree with that call 100%.
Of course, that's one of the knocks against James West. He is a very active linebacker, but he on occasion does take a dumb penalty. Now it's 1st and 10 for the Argos at the 21. Tolbert inside the 15-yard line. They'll spot the ball at about the 13. It'll leave him 2 yards short of the first down.
If you did not hear it early, Saskatchewan Roughriders picked up their first victory of the season as they beat the Montreal Concord in Montreal 21-14. We have just over 7 minutes remaining here as the Argonauts are enjoying a 13-point lead. As you look at Lau Wozniacki, the former Saskatchewan Roughrider and Calgary Stampeder.
And a Winnipeg Blue Bomber and a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
Keep it going.
7-year career. He's been around the C of L. Bob Bronk, the ball carrier, stopped by John Palazetti, but he pushed Palazetti back to near the 10-yard line. He'll be very close to a first down. It looks like he may have it, depending on where they actually spot the football. It is a first down for the Argos, just outside the 10. 6.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, and the Argos threatening now. They lead it by 13. Going for Pearson, and he overshoots him. And Conrad is mad at himself again. That's 3 times in that similar type of play that he has missed Paul Pearson. Any time if he had been able to get the ball, and once Pearson dropped it, we should mention that. But could have
watch
been
Pearson as he comes down for the inside. That's Krachini, number 27, and Pearson just comes underneath him, wide open. Just an overthrow by Conrad Holloway, one of few.
Bernie Morrison was the linebacker that he beat cutting inside. He also beat Morrison for a touchdown earlier in the ball game.
What a difficult offense to try and defend against.
Holloway, end zone pass. Off the fingertips of Cedric Minter, deep in the end zone.
You know, Dale, I think that was an absolutely perfect throw by Conrad Holloway. Minter just stopped for just a moment or slowed down in that end zone. Well, the ball would have been right there. Just before that, I think Minter had slowed up just momentarily.
That is the 50th pass attempt of the night by Conrad Holloway. And, of course, the league record is 54 pass attempts in one game. Set a number of years ago. I believe as Sam Etcheberry a number of years ago, Joe Adams of Saskatchewan tied it last year in the final game against Edmonton with 54 pass attempts. And Holloway's at 50 with 5:45 remaining. Third down for the Argos. Hank Olisic with a 17-yard field goal. It is good, and so Toronto ups its lead, 38-22. And we'll be back to McMahon Stadium in just a moment.
Pearson got 9.
I'd like to make a correction now as the Stampeders come out over the ball, first and 10 from their own 35. It was Tobin Rote back in 1960 who threw 54 passes in one game, tied last year by Joe Adams of Saskatchewan. As DeTilio completes this pass to Ray Krause, he breaks free. Krause gets up to the 49-yard line. Right now, as a penalty flag comes down, Conrad Holloway has tried 50 passes here tonight.
And in a game that has seen very few penalties until this fourth quarter, all of a sudden the flags are falling with rapidity.
5:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. And this will be marched off against the Stampeders. Penalty after the completion of the play.
Which will mean, of course, a first down for the Stampeders, but moved back inside their 35.
Yes, sir, up this. Major fall, number 58, Calgary. First down.
I'm not
I
sure.
think maybe the numbers are getting a little incorrect. That's James West, and he's not on the field at the moment.
A couple of times now he's indicated somebody who wasn't on the field at the time of the infraction. Nevertheless, it's a penalty against the Stampeders, unnecessary roughness. Their first down over again from their 34. 5 minutes to go. Ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, goes incomplete. Intended receiver was Willie Armstead. He was being watched by Lamont Meacham, number 18.
Franklin King, who's had just an excellent football game at that defensive tackle spot, number 61, knocked that ball down. See him stick his hand up right here. Former Stampeder, of course.
Frank, had a quick word with James West. He tells me it must be my reputation. He was sitting on the bench.
2nd and 10, Calgary. Blitz is on to Tilio, and they've got him. Nicholson comes up with the first sack of the game for the Argonauts, and the first sack of his career with Toronto. Back at the 25-yard line, a loss of 9, 3rd down and long.
Just a great move by the Argonaut defense, and the first time that they've been successful in coming right up the middle, untouched. You'll see the newcomer, Nicholson, the big linebacker from North Carolina State, make the sack. The first time that they've sacked the Calgary Stampeders. No, the second time. I believe that Earl Wilson had a sack earlier in this ball game from his inside tackle spot, number 58.
I'll take your word for it.
Already.
J.T. Hay to punt now, and the Argonauts will get the ball back, and we may see Conrad Holloway go for a CFL record here. Good punt by Hay. Quincy at his own 44. Chased back to the 40 and dropped by Mike Levenseller. Back inside the 40-yard line. So he took it at the 45 and loses about 7 or 6 yards on the return. 41-yard kick by J.T. Hay. And we will not see Conrad Holloway go after record number of pass attempts because Joe Barnes, number 17, comes onto the playing field and no doubt will quarterback the Argonauts for the rest of the way. 4:10 remaining in the fourth quarter. Toronto leading at 38-22. First down, Toronto from their own 39. Barnes, the fourth quarterback to see action here tonight. Looking downfield for Carinci, who's now in a slot back position in place of Paul Pearson as the Argonauts make some changes here in their offensive lineup. 2nd down and 10.
Still rather a nice luxury when you can go to your backup quarterback, a fellow like Joe Barnes, who, as we know, can run with that football as well as throw it, but he's got 8 years of experience in the Canadian Football League. Not many people can go to their backup quarterback and say that.
That's right. Started with Montreal, had a couple of years in Saskatchewan. Just didn't play much at all last year. He was injured just about all of 1982. 2nd down for the Argos. Barnes under pressure, gets away from James West. Throwing for Carinci, complete in Calgary territory. Jan Carinci takes it to the 46-yard line. Randy Trotman a little slow getting up for the Stampeders.
James West a little bit upset with himself. Watch him come from the right side of your screen. He had Barnes measured, but Joe just did a little bit of a matador move on him and completed the pass. Jan Carinci, 14 receptions during 1982. We're down to just about the 3-minute mark now of this offensive breakout by the Toronto Argonauts.
Bob Gronk trying to go up the middle. He's hit immediately by Randy Troutman, number 62. And as his coach, Jack Goda, suggests, Troutman is there to play a full 60-minute ball game, and he showed on that play. 2:55 remaining. The Argos lead it, 38-22. We'll be back with the rest of the fourth quarter in just a moment. 2 minutes and 55 seconds remaining till the end of this football game. The Argonauts in front by 16 points. They have the ball. 2nd down and 11 at the Calgary 47. Cedric Minter on the sidelines now with the ice pack around his right knee. This has been a hard-hitting football game. Calgary suffering more injuries than the Argonauts at this point, it would appear. One serious one, Darrell Toussaint, possible broken leg. He has gone to the hospital. Joe Barnes on 2nd and 11. Hits Carinci. Lots of room to go. Needs a block downfield from McGee, and Carinci is stopped inside the 25-yard line. It's a gain of 24 yards.
I'll tell you what else it was, Dale. It was an excellent play defensively by Ray Odoms. He was the one that was fighting off that block by McGee, number 15, and had he not been able to do that, that was another major for the Argonauts.
Frank and Dale, it's now confirmed Darrell Toussaint does have a broken leg. He is in the hospital.
Well, that's certainly bad news for Stampeder fans. We hope that Bernard Quarles, the starting quarterback, is not seriously hurt.
Barnes to Pearson. May have enough for another first down at about the 12-yard line. Richie Hall making the tackle on Pearson. Big night for Paul Pearson.
That's 10, is it not, Dale?
10 for 116 yards. 1 touchdown. Bad's night's work with a native of Campbell River, BC.
But he grew up in West Bend. Come on.
1st and 10 for the Argonauts at the 12-yard line. Just under 2 minutes to go. Barnes looking for Tolbert. He's got him. 5-yard line, thrown out of bounds by Richie Hall, and the Argos closing in, trying to put some more points on the board. We've had 60 scored here tonight. The record between these two clubs is 64 set last year. Toronto defeated Calgary 34-30. Offensively, the Argos look in great shape.
Wow.
They scored 426 points last year, and after this performance tonight, looks like they're going to be quite capable of bettering that mark. Into the end zone for Pearson again, a little too far. Joe Barnes claiming to the official that somebody interfered with Pearson. 505 yards passing for Toronto tonight. Oh, what a way to start the season.
Well, as we all know, Warren Moon is the first quarterback in professional football history to pass for 5,000 yards in 1982.
At this rate, Holloway will get 8,000 yards.
Third
down and 3.
The Argos looking at 3rd down now. Barnes can take it in himself. Touchdown, Toronto.
I'll tell you, the Argonauts have been using motion so effectively all night long. Just everybody goes to the other side. Everything goes this way. Joe Barnes and all of the defense for the Calgary Stampeders moves to the left side. Joe Barnes just rolls the other way.
John Palazetti, the only man he had to beat, and it really wasn't close at all.
Bronx stayed home for just long enough to take a shot at him, and that was it. 44-22.
Olesic with the convert attempt. It is good. 45-22 ball game in favor of the Argonauts as Olesic hits the scoreboard with that convert.
Not much question in Joe's mind once he sees Palazetti get hung up on that left defense side of the field. He's just going to take off with it, put it in the end zone.
And you see a total there of 67 points, breaking the previous record between these two clubs of 64, as we have mentioned, which was set last year. Toronto won 34-30. We have 1:44 to go in the 4th quarter here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Many of the 25,000 on hand have headed for the exits, and the Argos set to kick off. Should be quite a game next week in Toronto. The BC Lions, the only undefeated team in preseason in 1983, will be the visitors at Exhibition Stadium to meet this high-flying Argonaut team.
And there's another ball club deal that wants to put it up 40 or 50 times a game.
That should be a good one. It's a week from tonight. The Argos home opener for the regular season. Here's Olisic's kickoff. Every one of them goes to at least the goal line, it seems like. Darrell Smith on the return. Smith out across the 20-yard line. His feet went out from underneath him, and he was pinned there. Franklin King downfield for the Argonauts. 22-yard return. And the Stampeders go 1st and 10 from their 22. 1:39 remaining in the 4th quarter. William Mitchell limping as he gets up. You know how Jack Goda feels right about now. Losing your home opener and losing by 23 points, and also being hit by a rash of injuries. They had trouble coming into the ball game with a number of injured players and have picked up more tonight. Broken leg for Darrell Toussaint. Bernard Quarles injured in the 1st quarter. Ronald Hopkins, rookie defensive back, injured. Here's Vitilio looking for Levenseller. Trying to get out of the grasp with Leroy Paul, unable to, and then he's helped out by Nicholson. Levenseller pushed out of bounds near the 32-yard line. It'll be close to a first down.
If there has been a bright spot for the Calgary Stampeders offensively, it has been Mike Levenseller and Jerry DiTilio, who was throwing the ball very well. Just a huge offensive night.
First down for Calgary, 31.5-yard line. DiTilio looking for Smith. He's got him. Took that pass to about the 40-yard line. Darrell Wilson providing the cover. Smith did a good job of catching that football. As soon as he turned his head, the ball was right there, and he took it on his hip. Second down and about 3 to go. No huddle now for the Stampeders as they try to move downfield. Clock running, 1:20. Left. Armstead open. He slips at the 47-yard line. Checkern puts the tag on him at the 49, and another first down for the Stampeders.
You know, Dale, I think one of the key plays in this ball game, unfortunately, was when Willie Armstead made that great reception and fumbled the football at his own 35-yard line. Holloway quickly hit Greer to the 5, and then Brock with a touchdown. Turned this whole ball game around.
That time, DiTilio was trying to hit James Sykes, and there were a couple of Argos there. And I think if Sykes had really extended himself for that football, he might have left himself wide open for a solid hit.
I don't know if I should have said turn the football game around, because the Argonauts really have dominated it.
Well, it certainly had a bearing.
Calgary looked like they had a chance to come back. The score at that point was 28-15, and they were moving the ball effectively.
Second and 10 for the Stampeders. The ball at their own 49. Just over a minute to go. DiTilio, Levenseller. The ball pops loose. It goes incomplete. Third down. Leroy Paul putting the hit on Levenseller as he made the reception and jarred it loose. Paul with a fumble recovery here tonight for the Toronto Argonauts, which they took advantage of and moved into the end zone for a major score. Watch the Stampeders go 3rd and 10, under a minute left to go in the 4th. Looking for Presenti. He's got him 40-yard line of the Toronto Argonauts. Another first down. Presenti's had himself a pretty good night catching the football. He's got a pair of touchdowns, and he's picked up 21 yards on that one, and he now has 8 catches for 132.
That's the biggest night that Tommy's had in the last 3 years. Yeah.
Well, our next assignment, Frank, we look forward to it. A visit to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton a week from tomorrow night. The Big Blue Bombers will be there to play the Eskimos. Of course, don't forget tomorrow night it's Ottawa, Winnipeg. DiTilio to Armstead. First down at the 15-yard line. Friday Night Football on CTV in Winnipeg. A lot of passing yardage here tonight with 41 seconds to go.
And they just keep adding to it.
DiTilio has now passed for 358 yards.
Well, you'd think he'd be winning by 20 points or so, wouldn't you, instead of losing by 23.
And the safety blitz, DiTilio throws in a hurry to Smith. He takes it to the 6. Gain of about 9. Lamont Meacham making the tackle on Smith. Second down and 1 with 36 seconds remaining.
Jerry has called a timeout with just over the half a minute left to go, and Pat Marsden, Lee Pedersen, Bill Stevenson will be with you tomorrow night to give you the first of 12 Friday night CFL on CTV football games.
I don't want to be technical, but I think it's 11 consecutive Fridays.
Is it 11? Well,
it's a bunch anyway.
We might pick up another. A very happy group of Argonauts, obviously.
A very impressive debut, I would say, for Coach Obilovich and the Argonauts, and really a very tough one for the Calgary Stampeders. We're hoping to win a lot of new friends tonight on this eve of the Calgary Stampede, but it wasn't to be. The run and shoot was a little too much to handle.
Wow, the Toronto Argonauts are the defending Eastern champions, and virtually everybody picked them to repeat. And after their performance tonight, I think, is there any doubt? 2nd and 1. Tilio looking for Berzani. He's got him. 3 touchdowns tonight for Berzani. The hat trick for the 11-year veteran. 6-yard scoring play to Tilio to Tom Berzani. That comes with just 32 seconds left in the ball game.
Not much question where Jerry Tilio was looking. Just that quick hitch pass that Berzani's been very effective with all night long. Only
Pretty good
Paul
numbers for Tommy.
Pearson has caught more footballs tonight than the veteran Tommy.
Stampeders say let's go for 2. Ray close for a 2-point conversion. Stampeders wish they could have done that a little earlier in the ball game. They trail by 15 with 32 seconds left to go.
I don't know if the defense has a bit of a letdown when your offense is scoring so much, but maybe the Argonauts are going to be a little concerned that the Calgary Stampeders were able to put 30 points on the board against them.
I would think now, gentlemen, we will see the short kickoff. Would you not agree?
Well, I think you're probably right, Al, although I don't know how much meaning it's going to have with only 32 seconds remaining.
See if the youngster Terry Leschuk can handle the short kickoff, if that's indeed what they attempt to do here. He was released by the Stampeders a few days ago and then was just recalled because of the injuries to McTagg and Hay. Puts this one up. Renzi's got it for the Argonauts at the 51-yard line. 29 seconds to go. The Argos have the football back. Mike Levenseller comes up limping. Tough night for the Stampeders. I'd like to thank everybody on the crew tonight. Another fine job as we open up the 83 regular season. Lots of football coming your way on CTV throughout the regular season. He takes the pitch from Joe Barnes, gets up to midfield for a gain of about 3 yards, 2nd down and 7. .45-30 is the score in favor of Toronto. Joe Barnes grounds the football, and he'll have to do that one more time before this ball game is all over.
We're showing now just 8 seconds. Dale, as the Argonauts pick up their first victory of 1983.
Of course, we'll have the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars coming up. I don't think it's going to take too much imagination to figure out who the offensive star anyways going to be tonight.
Well, I'll give you a hint. He did not wear a red jersey.
Really? This will be the final play of the ball game, and what an opener for the Toronto Argonauts. Barnes grounds it at the 50, and that's it. The gun sounds. The Argos whip the Stampeders. Final 45-30. The CFL on CTV will continue in a moment.